Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 67 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Dave from Noreast Apparel in Massachusetts. Let's go!
Hey, babe.
Hey, beautiful.
You got more plants?
You like that?
You're like in a rainforest.
Yeah, it's an IKEA rainforest.
Plastic all around.
Mm-hmm. This is our new one. It looks way faker. Like if I showed you the...
I can see it right now.
Like,
looks pretty fake.
Yeah, super fake. But, you know, it makes you feel better. Like
Right.
Just makes you feel like you're getting oxygen and, you know, you're in nature.
Okay.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. How's your weekend? That good, huh?
We chose to do nothing this weekend. And so that's what we've done. It felt really,
That's
really good.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Needed it. So check this out. Do you remember when I went to Palm Springs for 18 days?
Uh-huh.
The desert. I had never been there before until, was it last year? I guess it was. It seems so weird. Like it seems.
I don't even know. Time's fucked right now.
Time is a construct.
Right. Made up by man.
In Palm Springs, they have a street festival every Thursday.
Street Fighter Festival?
Well, yeah, it's
right.
So you want to probably train a little before you go there.
Some Hadoukens and shit. Nice. Mm-hmm.
They have this festival and like there's music and there's burgers, you know, like food trucks. But also there are vendors that sell merch. Right. And we went to this one booth and we bought some shirts there and we started talking to them and said we were screen printers, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, we don't care.
Right. I was going to say, they were like, fuck off. Who cares?
They were like, Shirt Kong, who's that? You know?
Right.
And we've made friends over the internet and they just sent me some stuff because when I was in Florida, I showed them a shirt I was wearing like for 3 days in a row when it's from Palm Springs, the one he made. Anyway, it's called, this from Windmill City. Okay. I got these dope ass socks. Okay. I can't do that.
You can't bring your feet up.
Can you see that at all?
I can. Yeah.
Do you know why it's called Windmill City, Dylan?
Because they have windmills because it's windy.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on. So not only the shirt I'm wearing, see, are you fucking painted? Look at me. What are you doing?
I'm paying attention to you.
Put your phone away.
My phone's not even out.
What are you looking down at then?
I got a massive.
Don't say, don't. I don't want to know.
I got
keep it to yourself. Nope. Look at this shirt.
I got a piece, bro. That's sick.
Right?
Fucking aliens on it.
Did I show you this yet?
Did they just send you their entire stock?
Well, so they have like that. They have the booth that I talked about, right? Right. During the festivals. But they, in addition to that, they have like, I don't know, I think a couple of stores. We really need to talk to them because they have their screen printing shop, right? But they also have stores that support like Palm Springs. I think they're city.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you need one in Binghamton.
Yep, exactly.
Is that what it is? Whitney Point. I mean, is that what it is?
Perfect. Flawless victory. I like it. It's cozy.
Yep. There's my show and tell. What do you got?
I got nothing compared to that shit. Did you get any FOMO for Fort Worth this weekend?
FOMO?
FOMO, fear of missing out. FOMO.
I don't know what the fuck all that shit means, dude. I'm old. I don't know what that is. So just talk to me in words.
Did you?
BRB. Hold on. BRB. You get it? I know that one.
You're showing your age at the moment.
That's okay. I don't care. See, once you get past a certain point, you just don't give a shit anymore.
Right. When you pull out your flip phone, you piece of shit.
By the way, they're coming back. Did you see they have a flip phone that is the screen too?
Oh yeah, it's like the whole thing.
The glass flips.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know how they do that. That
it's
doesn't
future.
Make sense.
Last night, me and Linz went to Ithaca for dinner, and then we went to Trader Joe's.
Oh yes,
which had
yes.
This.
Oh yeah, right. It doesn't that night owls.
Yeah, Eric. I'm pretty sure Eric recommended this, but Amy did as well. And I have sent Amy like cases of this to her shop.
Well, guess what?
To fill her fridge.
Eric. I think Eric doesn't like me. I think he's
because you stole gifts from him.
Right. So we used to be kind of tight, right? And then I sent him, you know what I sent him? A whole case, just like you said, of that shit right there. What's it called? Tavana?
I don't even know how you pronounce it. I'm just going with Tayava.
That's what I sent him. An entire case. Amazon fucked it up. And it was because I think it was when their freeze was happening or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to get him hydrated, right? So I sent him that. And then it didn't deliver. And he's hated me ever since. But how is it? So you can?
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't cracked it open. Now my hands are wet. I'm holding it.
Was that the first time you've been to Trader Joe's?
No, I've been to Trader Joe's. We don't have one. Well, there's one in Ithaca now, but there wasn't one before. I can't.
Right. So it's not that fancy.
No, right? It's fucking. In my opinion, it's a shithole grocery store, but it's all right.
That's because you don't know what you're doing in there.
It's just all fucking. I don't know. It's hyped up.
You should have FaceTimed me and I would have helped. Yeah. What are you going to do? Shotgun the whole thing?
Wow. Tastes like iced tea.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I like about this though is I like it's in a big glass bottle. And if I was 15, 16 years old, I probably would have broke a mailbox with this.
Well, I like that it's in a glass bottle because that's sustainable and green. And also you're not poisoning yourself with something from a plastic bottle. And hey, guess what? Speaking of this, I had a plumber
Speaking of butt racks?
On, I don't know, last week.
Yeah.
And he told me that he had, what are those? What's it called? Kidney stones. And I said, oh shit, that sucks. You know, when he had to get them, whatever they do.
Is it because he drinks a lot of iced tea?
Fuck yes, it is. That's what he said. Is it real?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, I looked it up once and it was like, oh, like how, I don't remember what we were talking about something here at work and we were talking about kidney stones and we looked it up and it said that like high, you know, people who drink a ton of iced tea get kidney stones. And I was like, fuck.
Well, I asked him, I said, it's probably that Pure Leaf shit that you were drinking.
Yeah. Right.
And he said it was, and he switched.
Gold Peak wouldn't do that to you.
Yeah. He's feeling better.
I'm probably going to get kidney stones from drinking this fucking gypsy juice.
Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of worried about you. I'm going to need you to drink less tea.
Well, nice thing is they can laser that shit now. Don't break them up inside you. I don't have to pee it out.
Well, you still have to pee it out. I mean, they break it up and then you pee it out, but
we'll see how it goes, man.
You're like, oh no big deal. They just laser you and then it breaks up. That's fine.
Yeah. YOLO, Andy, come on.
I think I know what that means. See,
do you?
It means buy one, get one.
Yeah. Yeah. Buy one, get one.
Okay.
That's what I meant by that.
What do you call a seagull that flies over the bay?
Bagel.
Fuck. Yeah. How'd you know?
I just guessed.
Dude, that's so good. You're so smart. Those glasses really are working.
I know. Fuck.
Don't point to your head. Point to the glasses. There you go. It's working.
Like just rub them.
That's right. Do you have one for me?
What do you call someone who tells a dad joke that's not a dad?
Mom?
A faux pas.
That was good. That was your best one in a while.
Thanks.
Hey, let's talk about our friends.
Yeah.
Well, Easy Way's line of eco-friendly chemicals will get the job done faster, more efficiently, and will cost you a fraction of the cost per
screen.
Yeah, don't say anything else but screen because you fucked it all up. Did you see that? You know
I
you're
know.
lying.
I purposely am throwing you off.
All right, easy way.
It's the easiest way.
GSF. So that you know what that stands for, Dylan?
Graphic Screen Passion.
That is right. And Frank is a great dude, and he makes great screens.
Amazing dude.
Amazing dude. I don't think great is a good. Yeah, that doesn't do it.
Not.
That doesn't do it. I take that back.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Because the F in GSF is fantastic.
Great. Screen fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah. There it is.
Okay.
F.
Rank.com.
Action engineering. Action engineering. Action engineering.
Action
engineering. They make accessories printers need.
I actually just bought more stuff from Action and got it in this week.
Tell us, what did you get?
I got more sleeve palettes, but ones that are specific for doing pockets.
So you got pocket pallets.
Pocket pallets, yeah.
Okay, don't say sleeve pallets then, because that's confusing.
Well, it's a full sleeve pallet, but it's got a pocket end on it.
Okay.
So it's like a 4x22 pallet.
Oh, it's
the end of it tapers down to like 3 1/4, and then it goes to like a little bit of a point, so it fits perfectly in a pocket.
So when you bought it, tell me, did you enter Shirt Show at checkout?
I didn't, but I should have.
The fuck? Did you enter Shit Show?
No, I
that's
entered,
an extra.
I entered Justin Lawrence, I think, or Wild Boys, and it gave me 0% off, and then I checked out.
It added $100.
Right. In damages.
Okay, cool. I think that's it.
Go to Action, buy all your print accessories, and put in Shirt Show and get 15% off.
That was beautifully done.
All kidding aside. Yeah.
It was beautifully done.
Yep. So let's talk about Monarch. Because you skipped them.
I did. You know why?
Because we're about to talk to Aaron.
Aaron, yeah.
Yeah.
I texted you this, Dylan. I texted you this.
I know. Yeah. So this week I had a nice long chat with my buddy Aaron from Monarch. And we talked about printing and life and everything. Didn't really have much to do with ink. And then I asked him, I said, hey, man, there's a lot of shit going on right now and a lot of rumors going around about ink shortages and, all kinds of things in the industry and people freaking out and like overbuying and hoarding and everything else. And I asked him, I said, hey, would you be willing to come on the show for a little bit and just kind of like talk us through why that's happening and what's going on? I said I didn't want it to be like a Monarch ad. But I just like the dude and trust him a lot and want to hear what he has to say. So it's his industry. So I figured he would have some insight. So we're going to have him on and hear what he has to say.
Oh, shit. Motherfucker. Seriously, what's wrong with us, dude?
I don't know.
You like how Justin smelled it?
Did Justin leave some smell in it?
Yeah, it doesn't smell that good. Justin, what'd you do to this? Did you do something when I wasn't looking?
Something with that greasy spots on there. Ready? Okay. Bring it on. Prank.
How did we mess that up? What did we even say? I mean, did we even talk about? Yeah, we did.
Talked about how beautiful he was.
So we did. And amazing.
And he was fantastic.
And wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Look at that handsome man.
Hey.
Hey, sir. We wanted to hear your insights and opinions on what's going on with the world of ink right now.
That's true. But before he answers that, I want him to give us an update on his arm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, does the scar come through? I got free release to use it like 3 weeks ago, And then you have to do the fun rubber band physical therapy for a couple of weeks. And so at least I'm back to using it. I actually swung a golf club for the first time in 16 weeks yesterday. So that was good.
Is a rubber band like one of those things you see on fail videos all the time where people are doing this and then it comes up and like wails them in the nuts?
Yes, it's exactly what it is. And the entire time I'm doing it, I feel like I'm extra protective of the
right. Those things are terrifying.
They're horrible. The entire time I'm doing it, I'm like, I know this thing's gonna break. I know it's gonna break.
And that physical therapy is going to take another year or two, right?
Oh, at least. At least. I'm gonna milk that as long as I can.
Right. So give us your expertise, man. What's happening right now with everything? Because like I said, a lot of people are freaking out or don't know what's happening or they're spewing misinformation. So give us some notes.
Yeah, so I would like to say it is definitely a little confusing in the fact that not all manufacturers are struggling with the same thing. We're all struggling with some of the same things, but not all the same things. There are definitely some market factors that are definitely at play. If we look at raw material shortages, those go across the gamut. Like you're looking at resins, titanium dioxide, pigments, heck, even the containers that you put the inks into are in short supply. So, you might be able to make the ink, but if you got nothing to put it in.
I never even thought of that.
I know we recently got an announcement 2 weeks ago of drum shortages, and then the liners that go into the drums were on back order. So you can make all the ink you want, but again, if you got nothing to put it in, doesn't do anything.
You could just be like those people when there was like gas shortage or whatever, where they were putting them in grocery bags or in totes in the back of their car.
Yeah, I think, for those of us who are old enough to remember the gas embargo of the late 70s, early 80s, we in the United States have not seen anything like this since then. And that was industry specific. And this is really more affecting all industries, not just one specific industry.
Right.
So, when you look at certain raw materials, some people have done a better job at finding multiple vendors for certain raw materials. Some have not, which have led to certain products out there coming in significantly more shortages than others. The pigment issue raised its head when India was going through its struggles with, COVID, because that's what majority of where your red and yellow dyes come from, as well as your pigments. So all of it has been not all at the same time, but you've had shortages here, shortages there, and some are just been continuing on for long periods of time. But that's not really the only issue. So you also have supply chain shortages, right? So you've got, great. So I get it on the boat from China and it's on a boat, but now have you guys ever seen a video of how many ships are in the port of Long Beach?
It's like record high or something right now.
It's unbelievable. So right now it's taking about 7 weeks just to get through a port. So it's taking most raw materials in America are sold through distributors of those raw materials in the United States. So it's taking time for those distributors to get up to speed on the new order patterns and how long it takes to get raw materials in. That takes time to catch up. Well, add to the fact that now everybody's wanting them and wanting them in record pace. They just don't know how to order. And they're just playing catch up the entire time.
Right.
And if you think about it, the other part of that supply chain issue is you've got trucker shortages. So great, you can get it off the boat, but how the heck do you get it to the East Coast? Because there's no truckers to be had. We are having that problems especially on Fridays. It is really hard to get a shipment picked up to ship out to a distributor on a Friday.
Why? Why Friday?
3-day weekends. Or it could very well be that a lot of manufacturers manufacture all week long and then have these ginormous shipments on Fridays. And when you're already short truckers,
right,
you're probably going to go pick up those guys first.
Right. Plus, there's
rather
like
than the LTL
shipping
loads.
container shortage or whatever too, right?
There is. And add to that, China has actually put into place some policies so that their economy does not grow too fast. So once they've reached certain targets in regards to economic growth, they will actually start shutting ports down, which they've already done. So
Wow.
that slows up the exports even more.
So from your understanding right now, as far as with our industry, like what's coming, and is it looking like it'll clear up at some point or what?
Sure. I think for our industry standpoint, I think some manufacturers are doing better than others during this time. But for those manufacturers that are doing better, those manufacturers are crippled with you can only grow so fast. And add to that the supply chain issues. Well, great, if I need a new kettle to produce more ink, well, there's a 16 to 18 week lead time on that raw material. Okay, so I can't grow any faster for 16 to 18 weeks.
Right.
So if that makes sense. Also, you're seeing issues with the distributors struggling, going, even though Monarch can make it or any other manufacturer can make it, how does a distributor go from 2 to 3 week order timelines? So they're used to 2 to 3 week lead times, now moving to 6 to 8 week lead times. How do I change my order patterns? How much more do I have to order? And then couple that with now taking on a lot more volume. Distributors aren't knowing how much to order because there's also this thing called cash flow. So I can only order so much.
Right. And plus it's not helping that a lot of people now are like hearing of the shortages and they're being like, well, go ahead and send me 2 pallets of white when normally I would only order a pail.
Oh, absolutely. It's the same thing that Costco deals with. That's why when you go to Costco now, you can only get, 1 thing of toilet paper and 1 thing of paper towels because everyone starts hoarding. And that's not helpful either. And I think you're starting to see distributors now start to go, look, I understand you use a pail a week of white or 4 pails a week of white. Great. We're going to give you 4 pails. We're not going to give you the 16 pails you just ordered. And we're going to ration it out until we get our next supply shipment. And then we'll be able to give you more.
So that's one of the toughest things I think for printers is that here we are, we've recovered from COVID, the orders, the pent up demand is here. We have labor now. We're able to produce more. We have the orders. And so we're at 125, 150%, let's say, of our sales, yet we're allocated to 75% of our ink. And that's going to be a problem, right? And so I think as printers, what you would call hoarding is it hoarding when you just realize that, wait a second, so I went to order this ink, I can only get 75% of what I normally get. And so I'm going to go and maybe I'm going to jump brands and I'm going to I'll order from somebody else that isn't allocating me. And I'm going to order extra because they just told me I can't order, but 75%. And also I don't know when I'm going to be able to order again because some distributors are out. And so as a printer, you think, well, I need white ink, I need black ink, and I want to make sure that I have enough. And so instead of ordering my normal month supply or whatever, I'm going to order 2 month or 3 month. And I guess you would call that hoarding, or is it? Or is it just saying, wait, I don't know how much to order right now. You know what I mean? Because I can't run out of ink. I have to have ink. Otherwise, shut down production.
That's the scariest part is that you don't. Right now, I feel like every printer I've talked to has said how busy they are, like busier than they've ever been. And now we're getting exactly that. We're getting people being like, hey, like we might run out of ink. And they're like, fuck, no, I'm not. And then they buy whatever they can get to make sure they can keep printing, which makes sense. It's just, like you said, I feel like it's one of those things now. It's like, can you get it? Where's it coming from? And when does it end?
Well, I think you're seeing that if you look at all the consumables throughout screen printing, you're seeing that in emulsions, you're seeing it in just shirt blanks, where if you have a really big order, the likelihood you're going to be able to get all those shirts fulfilled through one vendor or through one manufacturer is not very likely.
And no, I ran into that not last week, but the week before. We had a big order come in, and I don't do the ordering anymore. I actually passed that off to someone else. And for this order, I specifically emailed SNS, and I was like, hey, here's the order. Can you give me a quote on the whole thing? And whatever. He was like, yep, here's the quote. And I was like, and then my very next question was like, do you have all of it? And like, can it come from X warehouse? He's like, you know what? Everything you want is in stock, fully in stock, and the 1-day ship from you. And I was like, hell yeah. And I feel like that's like rare now. You know what I mean? It's like rare to find out that your order is fully in stock and ready to go.
Yeah, we all thought that the black hoodie of last year was just a blip on the screen, and as it turns out, no, that was actually just a foreshadowing of what was to come.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it's hard, because like even when COVID started, everybody was like, oh, this will just be for like 2 weeks, and that turned into 3 weeks, and that turned into 3 months, and now it's a year and a half or more in, and we still don't know what's going on.
So we want as printers, we want to know that we can get ink. And so what you're telling us is that, yes, you have some ink, but do you have enough? I mean, and also, when do you see it balancing out or improving? Is it going to improve in Q1, Q2 of next year, or and not next year, more 2023? When do you see it happening?
Well, so I can talk more macro as well as micro.
Aaron, I want a specific date.
Me too. Me too. We want a date.
Well, I can also give, you guys, as well as everybody listening, I can also give you guys some advice on what I think you guys should do in the interim. So from a Monarch point of view, we are not struggling at all with raw materials. It's just we can't produce enough ink fast enough. We just can't. We're bringing our New Jersey plant online the first week of October, and that should help alleviate some of the strain in regards to manufacturing. That's certainly going to help from a Monarch standpoint. From an industry standpoint, I don't see spot colors coming back anytime soon. So if you've noticed, most manufacturers are no longer making spot colors, or if they are, they're with extended lead times. And by extended lead times, I mean really extended lead times. Mainly because if you're dealing with a raw material shortage, if I can make my product offering smaller, then those raw materials will go longer and further and support more printers than if I am producing multiple product lines and multiple spot color lines. So if you're a printer, and I don't want to make it sound drastic, but if you're a printer who's relying on your distributor or your ink manufacturer to produce spot colors for you, and that's how you do your printing, you're going to have a really tough time printing after the first year. Like really tough time printing.
Dylan, isn't that hilarious that we got into a friendly debate about...
And I win ultimately.
I think Aaron said that I won by like a penny.
But I win from the world.
That's right.
From the global perspective. Got it.
Right.
It took a little bit, but you eventually won.
Right.
Because it sounds like
I play the long game.
It sounds like anyway, if you're buying a spot color, that may go away either temporarily or permanently. And the thing to do is to mix all your colors, which is doable. I was just making the argument like, look, why would I want to spend time mixing navy ink, when I could just buy a gallon of it? And so anyway,
and Andy, I think I think your argument had weight pre-COVID. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely did. In the times that we're in now, you can hold on to that. But I will say, if you're going to try to find a navy, I would hope
we're hoarding it. We bought 1,000 gallons, and it's we're good.
If you're going to try to buy a Navy during January, you're probably going to reach out to probably 20 different distributors in hopes that someone's got one.
So long story short,
you're not going to care what manufacturer is.
Long story short, if they don't have a mixing system, they should get one and get one now.
Oh, absolutely. You need to be, as a printer, you need to be self-sustainable. And the only way you can truly be self-sustainable is to have a mixing system that you can, even if you want to do spot colors, you can still do spot colors or stock colors. And to my understanding, I know Monarch does. I'm sure all other manufacturers do. We all have the stock colors in our blending portfolio. So if you want to blend the stock color, you can. In hopes that one day stock colors come back, you can keep doing that until the stock colors come back, and then you're good to go. I just would not hold my hat on having a distributor supply me with stock colors. I just wouldn't.
Right. Okay. And then you were saying like there's a couple manufacturers that are just having issues because they can't make it fast enough. But we had this discussion the other day, and it was kind of like, you're just trying to keep up, but you're having the same problems as anybody who's trying to build a house or anything. Like, you can't get the materials to build a bigger factory because it's the same problem.
Oh, absolutely. Same thing with personnel. You know, I know Monarch is, I know pretty much every manufacturer out there, we are short people. So it would be just like, you know, Dylan, just like you, if you all of a sudden got in triple your current production you're doing now, right? And you're noticing that this is going to be a sustainable thing. You're going to need to triple the size of your business for the foreseeable future. If I asked you what the lead time right now is on a press, what would it be?
Like currently without tripling?
Yes.
Just say 10 business days.
Okay. So if you needed to get a new M&R press and you needed to triple the size of your business, right? So let's just say you need to get 6 on order.
I would be making a bunch of presses I can't even make them out of wood.
I get that, but what would that lead time look like?
6 months minimum.
Yeah, 6 months, right? So then how would you then do it on your current piece of equipment? How long would it take you to get just the people you would need just to use your current equipment 24/7?
Yeah, no, I know. You'd have to pretty much double or triple the workforce.
So that's the same thing that manufacturers are struggling with, is what you guys are struggling with. It's not that it's a manufacturing struggle. It's not, and I would like to say it's not just our industry. What you guys are feeling is what other companies are feeling in other industries. And it's not just you, it's all the way up the supply chain. We are all struggling with the same thing.
Right. So keynotes of this whole thing is try to find a good mixing system. What about other than mixing system, like whites and blacks? Okay, just, get what you can get kind of thing, or what?
So I would say whoever your manufacturer is that you particularly use for ink, I would have a primary and a secondary distributor choice. I would always have, just like I would also have a backup ink supplier choice. So if ink 1 is out, I can move to ink 2.
Right.
If my primary distributor is out of ink, I can move to my secondary distributor for ink. And then if he's out, then I've got to go to my primary for my backup ink.
You know what? We had a meeting with the design team and also production manager, and we said, all right, knowing that we're going to be allocated potentially and or run out of ink, how can we conserving? What are some things we could do, whether it's in our design room or how we print ink?
All designs are stick figures.
Honestly, that's one of the
everything
things.
On a 230 mesh plus.
Vintage prints all day, every day.
Vintage prints, that's it.
I'm saying, like, instead of PFP, one of the things is just one hit, and so that's a real thing. Also, changing our EOM, I know, which is we've always tried to increase our EOM because we want to put down a little more white, but maybe we don't, you know what I mean? So it's crazy to think like, how do we work with what we have and reduce? Because we put down a lot of white ink. We go through a lot of white ink. And so just trying to come up with ideas and designs, you know, and present it at the...
I think that's the best thing is we just really, as printers, we all just push customers to vintage style prints, like one pass, thin pass, add reducer, vintage the shit out of every print.
One color prints. Perfect.
Right. Half tones and distress patterns all over the place.
Yeah. Stop underbasing, you know, so that's the look. We'll create a trend.
Right.
There you go. If you can have a
adapt or die
print, it's cool.
Right. I think we just make the one hit, that's it company. And we put that pigment into all of our inks and make a shitload of black. And we just do black ink prints all day long.
Oh, I think you just came up with the name of your next company, Dylan.
Yeah, we talked about it.
That's it.
One hit, that's it.
Boom.
Right there.
We talked about that a little bit.
What's that?
That black. So you put that in other inks to turn it black?
Yep. You add 15 to 20% depending on the shade of the color you're trying to turn black, and it'll turn it black.
I want to get some.
Yeah. So like, I didn't buy it because there's black shortages, which there like coincidentally are now. I got it because, you know, the bucket of ink that turns into just shit, you know, just the unwanted child. That's mean to say, right?
No.
But instead of like tossing it or whatever, then you just put some of that in and boom, you've got black ink.
Well, there's always accidental mixes. You know what I mean? You added something wrong or you
or you mix too much of something. Yeah.
Right.
And you put some of that in 15% and you've got black and you're ready to go. So there's always that. So thanks for coming on. I have one question before you go though. And that is I received a shipment from you and it was in like an insulated pizza bag.
Oh, they're awesome.
Giant. Why is that? Because it was hot out. So I'm like, well, it's not because it's going to freeze unless it shipped to Alaska first or something. Or is it to keep it cold? That doesn't make sense. Why would you want to keep it cold? So I don't know. Do you have any guesses, Dylan, before he tells us the real
My
answer?
guess is that the trucks are so hot that they could cure some of the ink on like the outside of the drum. Why is it, Aaron?
Why do you always got to be right, Dylan? I mean, it's got to get tiring. It's got to get tiring.
I told him that
Dude,
earlier.
that's why my head's so big. My body's so big. It's just so fucking full of knowledge.
It's the glasses.
It is. I'm telling you, Annie, next time you got to have a pair of glasses and it instantaneously your brain power goes up. It's great.
Yeah, I'll do one of these.
You get wiser by wearing glasses.
So
they actually are pallet insulators. So we really use them only in the summertime when your shipping trucks can get ungodly hot. So we did a test, about 5 or 6 years ago, just in a UPS truck. The inside of a UPS truck can reach, the ink temp can get between 160 and 180 within 3 days.
Do you mean the trailer or the brown truck?
Yes, both. Because most of your cross country LTL shipping trucks are no longer vented, so the containers aren't vented. So there's no way of getting a breeze through there. So they just get ungodly hot. So what the pallet insulators do is it ensures that the ink doesn't get above 100 degrees when you're shipping it.
Yeah, but we all know ink cures at 300. Or
but
maybe
it
it's
gels
low
at less.
Correct. Look up any TDS sheet of anybody's ink and look at what the fusion temperature is. It's significantly lower. So your gel temp on most inks starts at about 160. Some are all the way down to 140. So if you get the ink above that for an extended period of time, could be a brick by the time you get to it. So Monarch just does it to ensure that the ink is just as fresh when you get it to your facility as it was when it left ours.
I'm going to grab it
Oh, sweet, because they're small.
I hope he wears it. I hope he wears it then. Can he reuse that? Can he send it back to you so it doesn't just?
Yeah, we reuse them. Yeah. So when we ship them out, we just ask everybody to ship them back, and then we we continue.
I doubt Andy knew that. He's probably just like, fuck it, I'm keeping it.
He's probably going to put himself in it.
I hope so. He's coming in 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm so close.
Oh, you were so close.
He waited just so I could be wrong.
Oh, I knocked over the tree.
Holy shit. Just killed the tree. Your bag just killed the tree.
Uh-oh.
A fake tree.
There it is.
Hey, those are more expensive than real trees.
That's like that's not like some tiny little pad. That's like a full-on blanket.
It is. They're huge.
Andy, you have to return that.
Do I really?
Yeah. We just discussed it, that they asked them to be returned so that they can use them.
Yeah, we reuse those. So when you guys get them, you just send them back to us on our UPS account. It doesn't cost you guys anything to return them. Just use it on our UPS account, and we get it back and reuse it.
Oh, dang it. I had plans.
Goes in a 30 by 24 box.
We're going to build a fort.
Oh, you can do that
Pretty
too.
cool.
Just build a fort.
I'll buy it from you.
Winter tent.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing your knowledge as always. And I appreciate it. It's a scary thing, having the possibility of running out of ink. I mean, it's terrifying because basically you're done. Like, that's it. You shut down. And so,
but we appreciate you, man. It helps to know that things are getting worked out. We just need to plan and, do what we can to make our way through it.
Absolutely. And I would like to say it's not like we're not making ink, right? So all manufacturers are making ink. So I would just say is make sure you're well planned, especially on your supply end. Make sure you've got a good supply chain. And just understand we're all going to get through this together. We're going to make it. It's not like we're going to run out of ink. So
we'll sing Kumbaya, get in a circle.
Sing Kumbaya. We'll be good.
We'll get it. All right, man. We appreciate you. We got to start the episode now.
Thanks.
We'll see you later.
Take care.
I think the takeaway was definitely, you should have an ink mixing system and you should have other options. If you take anything from that conversation, that's what you should take is prepare now. You know what I mean? Don't go crazy, but prepare. Hey there, handsome.
What's up, boys?
Are you rocking a sick mullet right now? Oh, yeah.
I did it for Tia.
Thanks. Bet she loved it. I'm loving the background.
Thanks.
Is that your front room?
It's like the everything room. I'm at the end of the dryer right now.
Really?
Like here, I'll do this. You ready?
Nice.
So it's all wide open.
Didn't you just recently knock down a bunch of walls?
Just one.
One big one.
One big one, yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan, not only does he have a mullet, but he has a pretty dope mustache. Did you Did you notice that thing?
He's just looking fucking hot all around, I think.
Again, Tia.
Right. Cool. I'll call you my stepdad.
Getting awkward right out of the gate. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
I want to know if those plants are fake or real.
Oh, real plants.
We only do real plants, right?
Only.
Yeah.
How do you get them to grow? Because I think
Water,
they require sun.
Honestly, these LED lights we have been incredible for the plants.
You mean your exposure unit?
No, the actual. Don't look at the lights. The actual lights, they're crazy.
So, what's been going on this weekend for you? What are you doing today?
Today was just kind of I played hooky on Friday, so I was just trying to get caught up a little bit here. Cleaned up, ready for this.
Yeah.
We were at the beach all weekend.
Really? How far are you from the beach?
We're like an hour from everything. So mountains, beach, Boston. We're pretty close to everything. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We got I like to get in the water and surf.
Are you between me and Boston, or are you higher or lower?
Well,
because I just drove to Boston not that long ago, and I'm wondering if you were on the way and I missed an opportunity.
I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know.
Think of like where Albany in New York is.
Yeah. So you probably drove right down.
Right past you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Because it's like the Mass Pike, Route 2, all that stuff, however you get there.
Yeah. I don't remember what I drove, but it was pretty straight shot.
495, Mass Pike, one of those two. Route 2.
Well, next time.
Yeah.
You had a baby recently?
We did. Yeah.
How's that experience going for you?
The best. It's so good. We made another one, so we got that going.
One right after another, huh?
Yeah, that's what you do when you're Irish, right?
Yeah. You got to get that workforce.
Ironically, I really do.
How is that doing for you with the business? Like, is it affecting your daily routine? Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's mayhem.
Well, my thing is that I had my kids like kind of when I started. So like I was just used to that in the beginning. Like, I feel like if I didn't have kids and then I did the business for years and then all of a sudden had kids, it would have been way harder for me.
Yeah. I would.
That's why I'm asking you, is I want to know, like, how is it screwing up? Not necessarily screwing up, but throwing a wrench in your day to day. Like, are you sleeping?
Yeah, dude. That's like, so Max was 7 weeks early. We spent a ton of time. He spent a ton of time in the hospital. We did too. But they put him on this schedule that just kind of we stuck with. And we get like good stretches of sleep. And then he's here all day. He comes to the shop most of the days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. She's got a little. So my wife doubles as my wife, mom, but also runs the office right here.
Oh.
So she's got her hands full, but it kind of works out because people get distracted with an adorable little kid, and he's running around and he's here all the time. It's kind of cool. For right now, we'll see what happens when. I know he starts running around.
Actually running around.
Yeah, which is.
And
close.
then you got to put like pads on the end of the dryer and on anything sharp.
Dude, nothing is child safe here. So,
and he's perfect height to run under a flash while it's on.
I had one of my buddy's kids. He came here to pick up shirts. And his kid there's a little aisle here down the dryer. Ran down and absolutely obliterated his head. And that's all I'm like now that Max is about to walk, it's like, holy cow, what am I going to do?
You just got to put those corner bumpers on everything.
Yeah.
Our shop is very much the same in that it's open, so like if a customer is at our front counter, there's no doors to get to the back or to the presses. It's wide open. I wanted that. I mean, I did that on purpose because I wanted to feel like I wanted it to be when you were here and you were placing an order, like you never forget it, whether you're placing an order for embroidery or for screen printing or whatever, you see that we do it here, like there's action going on. And so, and we give a lot of tours because of that, but we have that same issue, like every once in a while, somebody will be at the front counter and most people, if their kids are start like running off, they'll like, hey, get back here. But every once in a while, a kid sneaks away and they're off in the back,
Yeah.
So
playing with a pressure washer.
That's right.
We had we've had guardianship of my nephew who is 5. So we got like two opposing ends of it and like what sort of trouble a 5-year-old can get in here. Surprisingly wasn't terrible. So I'm just going to weather the 2 to 5 year stage, I think.
My problem is we get companies every so often that come in here that have like very specific colors and they always want to go out to the ink wall and like pick their specific color or like see it in the bucket. And they're always like in like, like dress shirt, dress pants, and they always brush their back up against the wall. I'm always just like, stay away from the inks. You're going to get it on you. It's not going to come off. And they're just like, what? And they like rub themselves on shit. Or it's like mid calf because they touch the side of a 5-gallon.
That's the best. That's the best. I love it when that happens.
Zach still lives with his parents, and he was working one day. I don't know how he did it, but he ended up getting orange like on the back of his leg. And he went home, and his parents had just bought like a brand new couch like a week before. And he went home just like exhausted, sat down on the couch and rubbed that orange ink all over the front of their couch.
He comes back to work and he's like, hey, Dylan, can I borrow the spot gun?
Well, that was the thing, is he came in and he was like, I fucked up. Like, I got ink on the couch and like, we don't know what to do because it says if you like try to clean it yourself, like it voids the warranty, and they pay like all this money for the warranty. And I'm like, just take the spot gun. It's going to come off. And then I guess his mom decided against it. And I think it's still there. Like, it's just orange now. And like, I think they're going to try to like take it in for the warranty or whatever, but it's just such a kick in the nuts to be like, hey, sorry.
We had a couple dogs, and a similar thing happened with, ironically, orange ink, except somebody had dropped a glob. Dogs had walked through it and just there were carpets at the old shop. So they got it all over the carpets in the hallway, all over the same thing, the couch, everywhere. And we left there. The landlord's like, hey man, can you take the carpets with you?
We don't have it so much anymore, but back when we were a manual shop, we used to say that red teleported because we would have red ink on just like random shit, like stuff ink shouldn't be on in the shop. Like, you would touch it and you'd be like, where the fuck does this red come from? And it was just like, Brian always used to be like, it teleports. It just like gets on everything. Glenn Carlos, who used to be at M&R, made a video. I think he ended up posting it like on his regular Instagram or whatever, but he made a funny video about that where like he gets it on his hand and then he goes and shakes someone's hand, or he grabs the toilet or grabs the handle of his car and he wipes it in his hair. And it was just like this whole day of like wiping ink on everything. It's crazy. I had my brand new Jeep there before this car, and same thing. I had ink on the seats, and I'm just not getting it off. I'm just accepting that it's there now. It's part of the vehicle.
It's part of being a screen printer, right?
Yeah.
You ever get those on a long run, like those linty shirts, and then you get home and then you look and it's like up your nose
Everywhere.
Or on your beard.
Yeah. Mustache.
mullet.
Back when I was at the shop in Georgia, there was a guy there. I can't remember what he did to fuck with me, but he did something to me. And in my mind, instantly, I was like, oh, I know how to get back at him. And I took a can of web spray and I sprayed it in his hair. So it's a super dickhead move, but don't fuck with me.
Don't.
So tell us a little bit about your company, man. How did you get started in this whole thing?
This is going to be funny. I'm going to connect some dots, I think.
Okay, cool.
So I started this right out of high school. Classic screen printing out of a basement. But I bought my equipment off Andy's buddy Liam from Floodpull.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Pinata.
Yep.
Did I get that right? Floodpull? Yeah, you got me all confused with the Floodpull flood print last week.
So how did you connect to him? Because I thought he was on the West Coast.
Yeah, so we grew up together. We went to high school together. He had been screen printing forever. But then his lungs got soft and he couldn't handle screen printing in a basement with no ventilation with shitty chemicals. So he gave it up and moved to California. And then I had the bright idea of buying it and exposing myself to those same shitty chemicals. And then I watched, so he was around for a little bit. I have One Arm Willie. It was our Raynar 6-color one station and the little Vista dry or whatever. I had that forever.
Did they even make a 6-color one station?
Dude, why? Why?
I guess the only reason would be is that you could keep up screens registered. You know, like that's a
Like
bonus.
if you were a clothing brand and you had 6 one-color prints,
right? Yeah,
and you just left them.
you went to take them down. You know, otherwise.
So anyway, you had that sweet press.
Sweet press. I had was the book How to Screen Print for Fun and Profit.
Yeah.
And the video to accompany it. Good old Mr. Scott
Fresner, right?
Scott Fresner, yeah. And I watched that video because I don't think there was YouTube, right? So I watched that video and messed up a ton of shirts and just slowly snowballed into still messing up shirts just on a bigger press.
Bigger scale. At least 10 at a time every time it messes up.
Yeah, at least 10 at a time.
Right.
So yeah, he got me started and we've just been slowly, that was forever ago. So we've just been slowly growing.
What were you doing in the beginning? Like who were you selling to?
I was such a dummy. I was trying to do everything except, so I got into to do posters. I don't think I've ever screen printed a poster in my life. And then we were just, he already had like an existing business. So I was just trying to take over from that. Right. And,
so he sold you his equipment and some customers.
Yeah. Cause it would all kind of overlap. It was like the local pizza place. It was the local contractors, the coaches we had in high school. So there was some of that there and I was like trying to go to school. I was working for my uncle, lugging car batteries around, that's what really got me started. I worked for my uncle and my grandfather growing up, and they always seemed super successful, self-employed business owners, work for yourself, making their own hours, making tons of money. Start your own shop. They said it'll be great. They said.
What were you doing with car batteries?
So that they had a distributor, and I just drive around Greater Boston, selling new car batteries and picking up old ones and destroying every piece of article I own. Battery acid's awesome.
So the customers that you got when you bought that business, I've always been curious. Like, so how many did you keep, and did you do anything special to keep them? Like, did you call them and say, "Hey, I'm Dave Quigley"?
It was, I was like 17, I think.
I hope you were pretending to be him. You'd be like, "Hey, it's me."
That would have been cool. I'll do that now. No. No, there wasn't a ton, and everybody knew he was leaving for California that he was working with. So I don't even remember. They just knew I had the equipment, so people were calling me.
So you got the same phone number or something? Or you kept his phone number? You know what I mean?
It doesn't even sound like it was that established.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
It was just like he had relationships.
Yeah. It was a couple of teenagers taking themselves too seriously.
Right. So why did you want to do it though? Like why, when you got out of high school, you were just like, fuck it, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. That was it. There was no real thought process, because all these kids were creative that I hung out with, and they, he had that, and it was a cool setup. I remember going over to his shop and just being like in awe that he was making these stickers and these posters and shirts. And I was just like, I'd done the graphic design thing in high school.
So you got sucked in. You got catfished.
Big time.
Yeah.
Majorly. In fact, he sold me the equipment, and I'll never forget the line. He said, "Screen printing, it's like printing money."
Oh, he fucking got you hard.
Did you at least get a squeegee printada out of the thing?
No, I got even better. I don't know if you can see it. This awesome prototype 3-inch squeegee in the background. You got the printout. Dude, I got a bunch of artwork from that kid. It's pretty cool. And a 2.4, Ken 2.4 stuff. I don't know. I get the best mail drops from him all the time.
So
But not a pinata, no.
Yeah, I got mine. I just hung mine up today. It's right here.
Life of the female screen printer is going to be so mad.
I know. I have a pinata from her over here on the very edge of the thing.
Is this a thing? Is I know how Andy started, but did everybody is like a screen printing pinata club or something?
No, I had hit him up at some point and been like, dude, that's so awesome. I want one. Like, I think when he did the very first one, and then Andy ended up getting one for 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's why you got it, right? It was your 10-year anniversary?
I think he posted something on Instagram and said, hey, I'm making these printadas. Give me a good reason to send you one. And, I'll choose like the winner, I think is how it went. And so I just said, we're turning 10 and we won somehow.
Because I told him at one point too, that like, I'm, we just had our 10 years or whatever. And he's like, oh, hell yeah, I'll put you on the list. And then I got it like 2 years later. I'm super grateful. The thing's fucking awesome. Like, I'm never going to get rid of it. It's amazing.
Did yours come packaged immaculately?
Yeah, dude. It was in a box too that was printed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was incredible. It was like a Apple box, but better.
He is a lunatic at packing stuff. And did you get 7 pounds of candy with it? Whatever you got?
Oh yeah, I can't remember what it was. We got candy, like a big bag of candy. Totally forgot about that.
That painted squeegee, he said, I got to post it because it's so cool. It came in this like prototype box with the foam cut out and a little note. And
so rad.
He's a good.
I love getting like one of a kind handmade stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best for sure. So you got the stuff from him. You were in your basement at your house?
Yeah. Who was talking about it recently where they had the apartment and they'd come, I think it was Max. They'd come home and there'd be a bender going on, but they just go downstairs and print.
Right.
So I have a group of friends that legitimately ruined my life. I had this beautiful apartment. I did go to work, go to school, come back, screen print all night. And, but I'd come back from school, or come back from work in between work and school, and there'd be 30 people in my apartment. I'm like, hey guys, like, what are we doing here? So I'd lock my doors, and I never figured out how they were getting in. Most of it was during the summer one year, and they were pushing my AC through the window, unlocking and letting the whole neighborhood in. They ultimately ended up getting me evicted, and I got in a bunch of trouble because there was screen printing ink all over the basement. That was terrible.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah. 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 That's fair. Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome. So you were printing in the basement. How did you get from the basement to the next place?
Dumb luck. We were looking for I'd been looking for a place, and actually there was another screen printer buddy of mine. He referred to his landlord, and I moved over across town above a restaurant and was there for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that an apartment, or was that just a rental space for screen printing?
It was office space. Definitely not meant for screen printing. Second floor, no windows.
Ugh. So nice for summertime then?
The worst.
What did you have in there? Did you buy another manual and a bigger dryer or anything?
Yeah, we got a M&R Sidewinder from your buddy Glenn and Joe. Glenn tried, we bought the Sidewinder, and he's like, listen, let me just get you an auto. We'll knock out the window. We'll knock down the wall. We'll get it right in here craned. That would have been the worst.
You'd still be there if that was the case, because you wouldn't want to get it out of there.
For sure, yeah. The landlord, we left there, I don't know, like 6 years ago. And the landlord had didn't want us out, but like wanted the space. So he's like, listen, you got to be out end of December, every day after you're going to pay me $1,000 a day. And that's rent.
So how many $1,000 did you have to pay him?
I moved out like 12/01, December 31st. With the dark of night. He was great though. That was a good dude. He ran a restaurant downstairs and was like a wealth of knowledge for all things business and money and employees. It's pretty cool.
It's always good to have that person. You know what I mean? Someone who's not connected to your industry that can just be honest about, you know, how you should conduct business, or just like an older, wiser person.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Three spaces ago, we were next door to a pizza place. And whenever I ran into like a jam and I needed help, you know, I'd go over and somebody over there would come over and help me offload or, you know, whatever. And I think that they were still on the clock there, you know, but they came over and helped me. And they're like, I went to pay them and like, don't worry about it, you know, or whatever. But I would still pay them some money, but not very much, because they were like, it's cool. You know, I'm kind of making money over here too. So I don't know, it worked out.
I'm still on the clock over here.
That's right.
I get a kick.
You free pizza?
Oh yeah.
We got pizza all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
I used to work at a pizza place, and that was the thing, because I ended up living with Chris at the time when I was at the pizza place. And like every night I would bring home like 3 or 4 like large pizzas of just like what was left over on the display of just like random slices. And I feel like for like a year, we were just eating pizza every day.
Do pizza places, do they make money? Because it seems like everybody gets free pizza, like friends.
Do you know how fucking cheap it is to make a pizza?
Mm.
Have you done the math? Let's do the math.
I'm not doing the math. I'm just saying, like, they make like a dough ball, mush it out, put a little bit of sauce and cheese on it, and sell it for like $25.
Yeah, they don't have any other expenses. You know, it's sort of like the ink on a shirt.
Yeah, they're Italian.
Just smear it all over the shirt, right?
Forgot to ask Aaron if ink is going to go up in price. I bet that's the next thing.
Yeah,
dude,
right
you
before
scared
we
that.
had you on, we talked to Aaron for about 25 minutes about ink and how everything's going right now. So we'll see how that is.
I don't know if anybody caught it, but you scared the shit out of me the other day. Are stock colors not going to be a thing anymore?
Yes. That's what we just talked about.
Oh, cool. So
yeah, so Dylan's right. It came back around. He won. Was that the one? Is that where you sent me 100 pennies?
Yeah.
So I got to send them back.
$1.
Yeah, we bet $1 that it costs. What was it? I think it was that a gallon of mixing ink cost more than a gallon of stock ink, right?
A gallon, like if I mixed a gallon, it was going to be cheaper than if you bought a gallon.
Yeah, and I said no.
And Aaron said it was like 7 cents cheaper to buy a
right.
stock color gallon than it is to mix a gallon.
And so Dylan sent me 100 pennies, which I hope I still have.
Probably not.
Right here.
So you said we freaked you out. Does that mean that you're just buying stock gallons? Right.
No. That's awesome.
So I'll send that back to you. All right.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Just take the fuck you off. So do you then, Dave? What are you going to do?
I mean, we kind of already have. I accidentally on purpose loaded up on a bunch of ink before shit really hit the fan.
So you're stocked for a bit?
A little bit. But I hate the idea. I personally hate the idea of mixing, you know, your favorite color blue or red, or, you know,
right.
The staple maroon, the staple colors. I hate that idea.
Yeah. Well, pretty much what he was saying is that, you know, if there's a shortage going around of something in an industry, they look at what can they take whatever raw materials they have and make the most of so that people don't go without completely. And basically what that boils down to is they want to make pigments for a mixing system so they can offer one thing that everybody can get by on.
Yeah.
So, and they don't know at what point they're going to go back to having plenty of everything. So the best situation for you is to have a mixing system so you can mix anything you need.
Yeah, they're going to put all of their resources into black ink, white ink, and mixing system.
Yeah.
So, you know,
That fixes
maybe
the problem.
it comes back.
Works. Yeah.
Right. But I'm like you. I hate the idea of it because we have our go-to orange that is just a gallon of orange, and we have a lot of those gallons, and we don't have to mix it. You know, same thing goes for royal, or same thing goes for bright red. I mean, it's just go down the list. And so, of course, there are other colors we mix, but it's just so nice to open a bucket of, Kelly green, and that's your green.
Yeah, but realistically, like with the Monarch system, the Vivid system, you can just go up to the green
That's
and
true.
call it green, and that's the
that
green
takes
you
time
use.
though.
It's not like it's a pigment that you're like you have to mix a gallon of it. You can just take it right out and go.
Right.
This is good here. So I just got Monarch stuff. I didn't just get it. I've had it for a little bit, but I've just really started using it. So I get the green, the blue, some whites, maroons. How much are you using any of those stock colors? Or are you mixing everything? I think there's two different answers.
I have the full Vivid mixing system. I have my whites, the black, and I have stock. I don't know what it's called. One's lemon yellow. So like we use a shitload of yellow and red. So instead of mixing those, I do have a 5 of yellow and a 5 of red. So those are the only two stock colors that I have that we just, instead of taking out of my mixing colors, I'm just taking it out of the bucket. But again, I could just look at a red of the mixing colors and just be like, that's my red if I had to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we really like the system, and it depends on the market. Like it's totally different. Like for me, most of our customers are coming to us and they're like, hey, here's a 12 color simulated process, like cartoon that I drew. Here's like, and the artist is like, here's the 12 Pantones I picked. Like we're just mixing those 12 Pantones. I'm not being like, well, this one's close enough to my Arctic blue and this one's closest to my, hairy ass brown. Like, you know what I mean? Like people make their own stock colors and they're like, oh, this is close enough. This is close enough. And it's like,
do you have a full-time person?
I would rather just mix those colors.
Do you have a full-time person mixing ink? Because if we had to mix 12 Pantones,
usually what happens is we don't have to mix 12. We might have to mix 1 or 2, because when we mix ink, we're not mixing just for that job. Like if that job requires 600 grams of a color, we're mixing like 1,200 grams of that color, and we're putting it back on the shelf because we have like 2 walls of like every Pantone we've ever mixed. So we're always having extra in a cup. So that way, when we go to another job that has Pantones, the first thing they're doing is they're going on the shelf and being like, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then if it's a color we just have never mixed before and it's not on the shelf, they have to mix it. But that's the thing with Pantone is like every year they're making more and more fucking Pantones. So
who mixes it for you?
Always adding.
Like a press assistant or?
Yeah, usually it's
artist?
one of the press guys, or if there's an assistant available, or it could be a
Dylan's
thing
out
where
there doing it.
Well, yeah, I am true. Like if Randy comes in and is like, hey, this 12 color print we're doing needs 6 colors mixed, he comes and grabs me. He's like, hey, can you mix those colors? Because I have other shit I got to do. Like I got to set this job up. I don't have time to mix 6 colors. So he'll just grab somebody that's available and be like, hey, can you help me mix this?
Right. So I'm thinking
ideally, most of them are already mixed.
I'm thinking what's going to have to happen is, honestly, if it goes to where there's no stock colors available and we're mixing everything, I think a couple things. One, we'll pre-mix like the bright reds or the orange, that we use, our go-tos, right? Pre-mix a whole gallon, at least, maybe more. And what we'll probably have to do is dedicate somebody, to that spot of mixing inks, because you're right. You're going to be able to put an ink on a shelf and then it'll be awesome when you get to grab it off the shelf. It's already there, because you run into an order that's similar. But there's going to be tons of times where we're, I guess we have to mix a color. And so if that's the case, well, then that takes a long time, so.
No, for sure. And that's the thing though, too. And I'm running into that now. Like we were talking about before the show started, is just like I'm having a little bit of growing pains where I think I really do need to hire just like a run around shop guy that's like, hey, scrape the ink out of these screens, or hey, mix these inks, or help us set up a job, and just run back and forth between presses, and like a press assistant basically, but one that's just dedicated to making sure inks are ready all the time. Or
their role would be
their role is just to make sure pre-press is like ready to go for the next job. So that's somebody I'm trying to get right now.
Do you have that guy, Andy? Is that Kyle?
Well, no. So Kyle is a screen tech, basically, which means that he is coding screens, imaging screens, exposing screens, developing screens, taping screens. And he rarely mixes ink, although if there's an issue on press, Kyle's that guy. Like the other day, we had the black that we're using was too shiny and it was a little too heavy, and we put 10% reducer in it. And so like he is the one that did that.
He's a fixer.
He was a fixer. And actually, it was funny. I was having this conversation yesterday with a guy who works here named Daniel, that we're really good at fixing shit. And there's several of us here that are fixers, and that's cool, but we shouldn't be fixing as much stuff. Like it's great to be able to, when, something happens, to be able to fix it and fix it quickly and, figure it out and make it work on press. But why are we having to fix so many things? And so we're going to attack it upstream, or try to anyway, because that's really, really tough, and so we're essentially, we're putting people in, we're making something, we're like being okay with, we're accepting inefficiency, if that makes sense.
So I feel like
by having
like,
fixers.
I feel like that's like half my role. Is like one half is what I want to do in this company, is of just, the marketing and the going after the clients I want to do. And the other half is just like deep dive into efficiencies and pre-press to where there's just less human error and less issues in every department. So like me and Andy, I feel like both went hard into like darkroom and screens and everything, like over the past, 2 years. And I feel like I'm really comfortable with where we're at now, and I'm ready to do like the next evolution in that. But like the next thing I think I really want to focus on is what we've been talking about the last 2 weeks, which is like SOPs. And it's like, I feel like I need to now go through every department and be like, what is everything we've learned in this department in our entire existence, and how do we do everything specifically so that there's no questions anymore? Like, how do we print white ink on a 140? It's this angle, this squeegee, this is what we do. So there's no question between presses. So now I want to go through every department and be like, okay, heat pressing. What do we do when we do a leather patch? What do we do when we do a screen printed transfer? What do we do when we do super color transfer or whatever? Like literally on a fucking board or something printed on the wall
video
next to those things. Right. But I'm saying I want to have it like for that specifically. I want to have it literally on the wall next to that thing of like, if you're doing this, this is what you do. I do want to have it in like a PDF format or whatever on every computer so that they can pull up and be like, well, I'm doing this kind of job, like a CMYK job. What's our go-to for everything?
Clockwork. Boom.
Who sent me that? Jonathan at Success. And he says that, who wrote that, right? See at the bottom?
Mike Michalowicz.
Mike.
Yeah. Have you read it?
What's really funny, and I had it in my notes to talk about in this episode, is I listened to a podcast. Well, I listen to this podcast a lot, and they're all three guys that run the podcast are buddies of mine. It's the Modern Craftsman podcast, and they're big time builders. They all own these like companies that just built these amazing homes or whatever. And they had Mike Michalowicz on, and I literally listened to it yesterday because Mike was talking about his new book that's all about like marketing and like being different and all this other stuff. And I wanted to bring it up to you because I thought it was like really interesting podcast. Like it was kind of cut short, but just like hearing him talk about certain things like that. But Mike Michalowicz kind of changed my business and life with Profit First, even though I didn't do Profit First. Like I was in a position in my life and printing that I was shitty with money. We've talked about this before, but like I was just not the best business person with money. And just listening to that book go over like how you should just get the shit done first and like spread it out and all this, like the way that he talked about it just made me put that like my own way of doing things in, and things have been like amazing since then. Like I've been the most comfortable and stress-free about like business and money since I did that. So I really like Mike, and like listening to that episode yesterday, like fired me up. So I'm going to have to check that one out. I haven't.
Should be our next book.
It's so good. All his stuff is so good.
Well, he's just like, so it's not even that like his information is good. He super deep dives into the research. Like that was one thing he was talking about in this podcast. He's like, yeah, I might write a book over like 7 years because I do like so much R&D and like research about that topic to where I know it inside and out. So like Andy's just like super upbeat, hyper guy. To me, it reminded me of when we did the Matthew McConaughey book. Like if you listen to it, like how into it he was and like, you know, just energetic. Like that's how Mike is when
Dave,
he like, reads his own
you
book.
were at the Print Hustlers and we saw him.
Yeah.
He spoke at that Print Hustlers. He was a keynote and he was fucking hilarious too.
So good. So good. I had been after, so my wife does the books and the invoice. And I was like, for probably 2 years prior, I was like, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. I'm terrible with money. I'm not great with
just
money.
accept it. Yeah.
I'm not great.
That's what I had to do. I was just, I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want people to know that I was shitty with money until I got to the point where I was just like, I need to be at peace with the fact that I'm just not that guy. Like I need help. And that's what I did. So continue.
She came home, like she was so excited for that. I had her listen to the book right before we went to Chicago. And then she came home and that was the first thing we did at like Monday or Tuesday. She went right down to the bank and set up all these accounts. And that saved our asses at the beginning of this pandemic, like majorly. And that was like, that was the best thing ever.
Because you had money.
Yeah, we just had like all these safety nets in place. And it's like, oh, like we're good.
Right. My biggest thing is like I would get money in and then I would just spend it. You know what I mean? Like I would get orders in and I wouldn't budget out to be like, well, I need to buy inks or I need to buy shirts or I need to whatever. Like I wasn't just burning money, like being like, oh, I want a boat. I want this. I want this. But I was just like not paying attention to what I had to buy or what was owed or like what was due, like anywhere. I was just like, oh, like eventually more stuff's going to come in. And like, we're like you said, like, oh, we're printing money. Like when a new order comes in, new money comes in. And it was just like, that is not the fucking way you run a business. Like, I don't know how I went fucking 5 or 6 years or whatever, the way I was doing it. I feel like I was just aging myself so hard those first 5 years. And it's like, all I had to do was just like buy everything up front. And then whatever's left is what's left. Like now I've talked about this, but like now basically when an order comes in that day, the shirts are ordered, whatever I need for that order is ordered, payroll, everything's done. And then whatever's left is fucking mine.
I think that's pay yourself last.
Basically, yeah, pay last. But to me, that was just like, it was better to like split. I did other things with like bank accounts and whatever else I had to do, but like, I didn't do the whole like 12 accounts and like separate it that way. I was just more like, instead of willy-nilly of like, oh, I'll order shirts in a week, even though they place the order now, I'll get them later and whatever else. Now it's just like buy everything I need now. And then at the end of that day, every day, whatever money's left over is my profit. So that worked for me.
Same, but different.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's similar. It's the same thing. Like you're just putting money in different accounts that day, every day or whatever to keep it separated so you don't spend it basically.
Do you still run 0 terms for like purchasing goods?
Yeah, I don't have terms at all.
We do.
Is that crazy?
We definitely have terms. So, but
yeah, I feel like it's two sides of the fence. Like me and Andy have had this conversation before and he does terms, but I just don't like owing anybody anything. Like, I don't like to think that like I'm running terms just to run terms. I get that if you do that, they're going to give you a better price break sometimes, I guess, because you're not paying with a card. You're just writing them a check every 30 days or whatever.
We're not doing checks. Yeah, we do ACH. It's just
but I'm just saying transfer. Like, right.
But I don't know. I think that in your business model, your customers pay you.
Right. They pay me
Most of your
upfront.
customers pay you up front.
Yeah.
Whereas
99.9% pay 100% up front.
Right. Well, so we have many customers like universities and stuff like that it's just that's not how it works.
Right.
And so we so what's nice about terms is that we can, buy the shirts and we don't know for 30 days. And so we can print them and bill a customer, and they can also get terms, and it's just kind of a big cycle. Now, I will say that oftentimes I pay S&S or whoever way before the 30 days, because like I don't want to hold on to the money if I have it. So I'll pay them early. But what happens if you get in a pinch, and which actually happened to you when you've got, you ran into just a giant order, and it's more than your credit card is maxed at, you know what I mean?
Right. And I do have the ability, like I could easily call S&S right now and be like, hey, I have this order for like $40,000. Like, give me terms. And I'm pretty sure they would be like, all right, here's the terms, like whatever. Cause they can see like what I've done with them forever, but I just never need it. I never use it. But the funny thing is now we're having this conversation. There is a new customer that I'm dealing with that is a really big customer that they told me in the meeting the other day, they were just like, just so you know, like we do like 40-day terms. Like there's no arguing with us. There's no whatever. Like if you want to work with us, it's like 40 days. And I was
How'd you handle that?
I just told them, I was like, that's fine. Like when I talk to any customer, no matter how big or small, I'm 100% honest with them. I'm just like, that's not normally how we do things, but like, I will figure out how to make it work if this is going to work. Like if we're going to work together and this is what you need, I will find a way to make it work on my end. And if I have an issue, I'll let you know. But like same thing. It was like, okay, if you want to do that, then I'm just going to go to like S&S or Broder or whatever and be like, hey, I have this massive customer and they need to do 40 days. And I'll be like, all right, well, I need terms for 40 days and I'll make sure you get paid. So I'll probably have to look into terms more, but again, I would only use terms for them. Like I would only use it for that customer's orders. I wouldn't just switch all my stuff over to them. Because to me, in the back of my mind, it freaks me the fuck out to be like, oh, I owe like $200,000 to S&S this month. And it's like, oh, that makes my blood boil.
Well, I was listening to Printavo or Print Hustlers podcast. I want to say it was a shop in Texas. I want to say it was Mighty. Do you listen to their podcast, Dave?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember which one. It was a girl, but she said that they are 100% pay in full before you start an order, and we've been half down, and the rest do a pickup. Well, after listening to that, inspired me. I was like, you know what? All of the customers, the ones that aren't, on terms, all of our customers, we're going to convert it, and I'm going to do full payment. Like, why mess with it? Because so many things happen. So when we do half down and the rest is do a pickup, what happens is it's wasting. Not only is it inefficient because when they come here, we've got to say, okay, well, you still owe us a balance, and then we have to figure out what that balance is, get their credit card, run it. Like that takes time. When we could have already done it, just one time at the beginning. But there are times where they send somebody else in and like, oh, we still owe. I didn't even know that. And what do you do then? I'll call my boss or whatever. And it's just awkward because then they're standing there trying to get payment. And what ends up happening, and they're like, hey, they said they'll pay later tonight, and so they leave. And then sometimes they do pay later, but what if they don't? Because I want to let them have the shirts. I don't want to inconvenience them and say, no, you can't have your shirts if it's a customer, like a repeat customer. And so it's awful. And so we changed it just like maybe 3 weeks ago. And so far, so good. Like I figured there'd be a few people that were upset about it. Like, what do you mean I have to pay in full? We've been doing it like this for years or whatever, but everybody's pretty cool about it because we usually say, well, because COVID, that's the excuse.
Just blame it on everything.
Yeah.
What's funny is like for years, we've always done 100% payment up front, but we do get customers once in a while. They're like, oh, can I do 50% down? And we'll say, yeah, we're like, all right, 50% down and then 50% on pickup. But we're so not used to that at all. And we have no way of like, when someone comes to pick up, like letting that person at the desk know that they only pay 50% because that's just not how we do things. There's so many orders over the years, like not a ton, but like I definitely have like a list on my computer of like every year there's like 4 customers maybe throughout the whole year
Still low.
that paid 50% down, picked up their shirts, and I'll just never hear from them again because they still owe like $600 or whatever. And I always tell like Sarah or whoever was dealing with that customer, like, hey, can you email them and tell them they still have a balance? Like, I know they got their shirts, but like they still have a balance. And I feel like some of them are good about it and they're like, oh shit, sorry, and they pay. But some of them just like straight up ghost us and they're like, haha, fuck you, I'm not paying the balance.
If you had this beautiful software called Printavo, that person at the front desk could see that there's a balance prior to letting.
I'm working on it. But yeah, that's the only way I've been burned with that. It was way worse when we were doing bands, like in the beginning, because bands have no money. But nowadays, it's 100% up front is definitely the way to go if you can pull it off.
Is your bullshit radar? This is like a general question. In regards to getting burned, is your bullshit radar better and you don't get burned anymore?
As far as just like knowing a customer's full of shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I fell for in the beginning that like I won't fall for anymore. Like I said, in the beginning, it was just, I feel like it's just being naive with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
And desperate.
Well, yeah, you trust anybody, you know, that's a downfall that I personally have. I think I'm just like too nice of a person. Like I'm too nice of a guy. And I genuinely trust every human being. Like I could walk up to some fucking random dude I've never met on the street and be like I would fully trust that person to do something or like, be like, oh, can you hold my keys? Like I got to do this thing or whatever.
Yeah, but isn't it true?
And like, I get burned so often on shit like that.
Isn't it true though, as the longer you are in business, you become jaded and you go kind of from, oh, I want to trust everybody outside of business. I trust everybody until they give me reason not to. But at this shop, do we become like, hey, I distrust everybody until they give me a reason to trust them? You know what I mean? Like, does it flip over time?
I personally don't see it, but like people tell me that all the time. Like I feel like I'm just more and more forming into that role of an asshole of like people, like we talked about this and people come in and say something and I just disregard their feelings and just say shit. Like, I feel like that's how I am with a lot of stuff now. I'm just like, oh, fuck, they're full of shit or whatever. But I mean, well, it's just stuff comes out of my mouth and I'm an asshole, I guess. So what about you, Dave?
Isn't that part of the industry, just becoming like the old salty screen printer?
I think so. I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is that you're just daily dealing with a ton of people and customers and like transactions and how people operate. And it's the same thing. Like, I feel like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, every order that came in, I would work like all night to just like go through every quote they wanted or every mock-up they wanted and do anything I could do to get that order in. And nowadays I'll see an order come in that I'm just like, it probably isn't even that much work. Like somebody will ask me an outside of the box question on something and I'm just like, oh, I got to fucking go through. I got to make 2 mock-ups instead of 1. And it's like, that's where I feel like it's not my strong suit anymore. Like in the beginning, I would do all that stuff. And now I'm just like, I don't even want to deal with any customer orders, really. Like even the big ones, I'm getting in on my own. Like I'll have the meeting and deal with somebody. I'll get them started and get their first order in. But after that, I'm like, hey, just to introduce you, like here's Morgan or here's Sarah or whatever. And I'm like, they're going to take care of you from here on out. Like if really they wanted to deal with me, I would keep doing it. But it's just not my strong suit. Like even my own family fucking comes here. My brother placed in an order like 2 weeks ago and I gave him to Sarah. I was like, dude, straight up, you know me. Like if I'm going to handle this order, it's going to be like weeks before I fucking like fully get through the whole thing and give it to you. But I'm like, if I give it to Sarah, she'll do it today. Like,
you need to clip that audio of like, if you want your shirts, don't text me, don't email me, don't call me. Call whoever that Morgan is or Mao or.
Well, it's
Andy.
funny. Like I get people on Facebook, like my own personal Facebook that know me in town or their businesses or whatever. And they'll send me a message, be like, hey brother, like what's up? I want to print some shirts. And I'm like, I feel like an asshole, but I'm like a robot, and I send them a message. I'm like, cool. If you would like to place an order, make sure you send an email to sales@upstatemerch.com, and it's, you know, Sarah or Morgan or whoever will get back to you. And they're just like, I can kind of tell that when they get that, they're like, what the fuck? Like you're not going to do it? And I'm like, dude, it's not my role anymore. Like, it's not my thing. Like, if you want somebody to research like blanks and help you through the whole process and make the mock-ups and stuff, like, I just don't have the time in the day to like sit there and go through that for you. Like, if you want it done right and you want it done soon, it's got to be somebody that's their job all day, every day.
Yeah. And it's not only that you don't have the time, it's just that you're not as good as it. It's not your main thing. Like, sure, you could walk them through it and you can pick out a shirt.
Oh yeah.
You could go through all that, but you're just not like the girls at the front counter here, the customer service specialists. They do this thing every single day, all day long. They're super fast at it. Yeah. They're good and efficient. They're organized. Like for me, so whenever I get that sort of thing, a Facebook message or a text or whatever, it says, "Hey, Andy, I need some shirts." I take a screenshot on my phone and I email it to myself.
I do the exact same thing.
Because otherwise it's over, you know, because I'll mess it up. And so I email it to myself. And now that doesn't mean I'm going to take care of it. It's just that when I get there the next day, I then tag somebody here, you know, that's going to help me with it and say, look, can you help me with this order? You know, it's like the only way it's going to get done.
Same thing. Yeah. I screenshot stuff from Instagram all the time and I send it to one of the girls. I'm like, hey, take care of this customer or give them a call or whatever.
Help me, please.
And the thing is it's I don't want to sound like a dick when I'm saying this, but it's just kind of like, it's really like a stick in the spokes of my bike every time I get an email that's just something that's not in my daily flow. You know what I mean? It's like somebody asking me for something or a project or something that's out of the box that I'm just like, I would love to do this. I would love to walk you through this and do this whole thing, but it's literally going to eat up like 3 hours of my day that I don't have. Like, I have other things. I have people in printing. I have people in fulfillment and all these things that are asking me to help figure out or get through. And it's like, that might take me 2 days. And like, you're expecting an email back in like 5 minutes. Like, I just don't have the time and energy to do it. So
how did you, it sounds like you both have a couple people doing that role.
Was the best thing I ever did ever.
How did you find that person? How did you train them? Because I feel like there's not a video, you can't make a video for like navigating all these variables, navigating these conversations. How did that person get brought in?
Andy, do you want to handle yours and then I'll handle it?
So we have 4 people up front. One of them is pretty new, only been here like 3 weeks. She's a hybrid.
There's
a joke robot there. Yeah, she's half robot, but she's a hybrid because she's a designer / customer service specialist. So I thought it was important that we have somebody that understands art at the front. Again, we used to have that and now we have it again. There's another person that does invoicing that supports Joanne, because Joanne does a lot of the invoicing, but not all of it. And so she needs help because Joanne has other things she does within her role. So there's a person that can invoice, but that person that invoices also answers the phone and can also walk a person, you know, that comes into our shop, walk them through an order. Then there's a person behind both of those that there's two people actually, a customer service manager and then just a customer service specialist. And she's really a brand specialist too, because she has her own brand and she understands brands. And so she takes all online quotes and handles that. So, but the question was, how do you train them all for this? Well, Claire, who's been here the longest, I want to say 7 years, didn't start as a customer service specialist. She started at the dryer just as like a temp because we needed help one, I think it was a weekend or whatever. We had a giant order and we were here printing, and she was a friend of a friend and she filled in, and she was awesome. And so at the end of it, I said, hey, do you want a job? And so she's been here ever since. And she trained all 3 of those girls who are there now because she knows what she does every day. And she's trained a lot of people so far at the front because she's been here for so long. And so she sort of there's a method to the madness. And she actually says that,
Yeah.
And so like, she just sort of goes through the thing. And so, and we actually do like before we ever like turn them loose, of course they just shadow, and watch how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gives them like mock orders, fake orders. Like how do you price this? And how do you, just fill out this work order? And I want to see it. And so we just kind of go through the motions. And then all of a sudden, they just take on a customer and they're going to have questions. They're going to mess up, but there's somebody that's like right there. Cause there's 4 people. There's somebody that's right there that's kind of listening in and knows, how, if they answer the question wrong or whatever, why are you going blue?
I just realized I didn't have my lights on.
Oh, well, that's red. It looks red anyway.
It's orange. It's the same as you.
But, so the answer to the question is somebody that is existing that already is here at this shop that knows that role, they train them. And so it's never been that. I'm trying to think back like to the very first customer service person we ever had. I guess we had to, like myself or Joanne or somebody like that had to train them. It used to be actually the designers. So it was kind of like somebody's turn. It was their up and they'd come up to like somebody walked in, we have a chime and it goes beep, beep, beep. And the designer would walk up to the front counter. What can I do for you? Welcome to Shirkong. And so there was always just somebody that could help a customer out. Now, all that said, just like Dylan, I want an SOP. I want a video. Yeah. I want a book. We do have a binder. Like everybody on their day one, their first day, I give them an onboarding binder, which, has all of the things they fill out with like the I-9s and taxes and all that shit, right? Yep. Employee handbook. But they also get a binder for whatever they're at. So if they're at the front counter, they get a binder. And then in that binder is like, like how we price stuff. It's our pricing matrix, let's say. And then also like a Gildan swatch card,
mm-hmm.
just a 3-ring binder. You know what I mean? That has everything they're going to need.
A 5-star binder.
Yeah.
Is that theirs to keep forever?
Theirs to keep forever and add to, subtract from. If it, it's like because it's evolving, right? What we do now isn't necessarily what works now isn't what works maybe 6 months around. We like change a policy or whatever.
How often are you updating it, reviewing it?
Not often enough, but we just did because when I changed
perfect. He doesn't mess anything up. So it's one and done for him.
Have you guys fought yet? Has there been like a physical altercation yet?
We know who would win. We don't have
the problem is that it would be like any movie with like passionate fighting where we would start fighting and then we would just end up making love at the end. So
have you heard of a restaurant called French Laundry?
Yeah, of course.
It's in California. It's like the most expensive restaurant in America.
Yeah.
And like literally the chef there walks out to the garden and picks something from the garden and then cooks it. And like 20 minutes later, you're eating it, that kind of thing, farm to table. Mm-hmm. But I was watching Anthony Bourdain went there and this dude, like the chef there says, like, isn't it cool? Isn't it so great? Like, how lucky am I that I work in this kitchen with all of this, like all this crazy kitchen with all of this state of the art stuff and all these chefs, and we make each other like all so good. And we were able to, cook this food. And Anthony was like, yeah, man, dude, like this is perfect. Like this meal was perfect. He goes, nope, it's not. He's like, we're always pursuing that. That's something we're always trying to do, but it's not perfect. And so that's the same thing here. We're super far from perfect. In fact, I told Dylan before you came on, like this whole shop's fucked. Like we're fucked up. It's a mess. I need help.
And, that's the thing though, that separates regular printers from, I feel like, great printers is the fact that they don't just kind of figure it out, like figure out how to screen print and then just stay there. Like that's, I feel like, how you become a dinosaur and you just, you fade out eventually. You know what I mean? Like we all love the craft of screen printing, not necessarily just like a business of screen printing. Like, yeah, we want to make money at it or whatever, but we also are super nerdy when it comes to like figuring out new processes or new inks or new whatever. It's like we're never satisfied with where we're at. We're always like, oh, we want to like do this better or do this better. And then eventually you just like end up being in a place where you're known for doing certain things because you're really good at those things. and then you just constantly keep evolving and like making things better. Like
I
I was
say,
busting
though,
your ass just because it's you, but it's like, I feel like we're very similar in that, where we're constant, like every year we're evolving things.
I want to say though that we do a lot of things really, really well. And it's me being, being a perfectionist, or wanting to be anyway, that is saying that, our shop's fucked, because we do a lot of things really well. In fact, like, we're really successful, so whatever we're doing is working, right? Because we're successful. But we're also kind of like what I alluded to earlier, is that we're fixing a lot of things. We're really good at fixing things. And I want to be good at fixing things, but I don't want to have to fix as many things. And because I think that some people get frustrated with that, and so that's part of what contributes to a bad day for an employee here, is that, well, we had 5 things fail on press. That's frustrating, because they take pride in their work, and now all of a sudden we have things failing. Like, why don't we do something about that? Sure, we can go in there and fix it, and we can fix those things quickly and make it work. And that's a skill, but it's frustrating still. And so why are the people getting away with it that are causing this problem? Like, let's fix it. And so I'm trying to fix those frustrations too, if that makes sense.
Do you feel
I love that Dave is interviewing us. This is awesome.
Well, just kick me out. Do you guys feel added pressure? Because you might relate to this a little bit. In the Northeast, like when I started, I couldn't call the dude up down the street and be like, hey, what are you using for ink? Do you got any extra white ink? I'm out. Or where are you getting your ink? And then like this social media thing happened, Instagram, the forums, and I was just lurked. But you guys have been such big contributors there. Like, it's super, I don't want to say refreshing, but I don't know what to say there. That, like, you guys, like, the blue ink issues, the post where Andy's having meltdowns and like needs consolement in the comment sections, like you. It's been great to see that like the guys we look up to as shop owners or are other people having the same issues, and collectively it's getting worked out.
Saying. Yeah, and that's something that, like, when me and Andy first started doing the podcast, was like, we're by no means like, I don't know, the best printers, because we're by far not. Like, we're just 2 dudes that love printing, and we wanted to talk to each other and whatever. But that's the thing about it, is that there's so many people that we talk to on social media, like separately, like just to be like getting information from people. Like, there's a ton of printers out there that like do stuff that I don't do, that I want to learn how to do, that I'll hit up in DMs and be like, hey, talk to me about this or whatever, or like walk me through this process or whatever. And like, we would have this like eye-opening conversation in DMs, just me and this other person. You know what I mean? It was like Friday night at 10:30, like we would just have like a 2-hour text back and forth of DMs about something. And then the same thing, I would call Andy or Andy would call me, and we would just vent to each other about our week, or we would be like, oh, I tried this process and this really worked. And it was just like, this would, like, why don't we talk about this on a platform where like anybody who wants to hear it can hear it? You know what I mean? Like, we have these conversations with all these people and learn all these things, but nobody ever hears it but me and the other person. And then 10 other people might DM that same person and be like, how do you do this? And he has to repeat himself over and over again. And
then I also forget, like I forget some of the stuff that we talk about, and it's pretty cool to be able to, it's like, oh yeah, like what did we say? Let's go back and listen to it. So it's there.
Well, the other part of it too is like, me and Andy are like the hosts of this, but like, we're learning just as much from you guys as you guys are from us. Like, we're just spewing shit that like happened to us, and you guys are like, well, this is what happened to me, or I have a tip for this. And we're fucking absorbing that shit just as much as you guys are, of like, oh shit, we should implement this. So for me, it's like, it's just an awesome knowledge base to like talk to people all the time and be like, shit, I want to know what you know.
It's tremendous. Listen, from Davo for the industry is just like, there's nothing. So many good things have come of this and will come. It's pretty cool.
Well, the thing is I look at it as, I was born of the social media era of, you know, like I said, when I got to age of where I wanted to start my first business was when MySpace started. So like my whole everything has been just before that. When we were in a band before MySpace started, it was the like forums and stuff of like, oh, you go to a punk rock forum or a hardcore forum or whatever and be like, where's the show, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as like MySpace started, it was like I could DM a venue directly and be like, hey, we want to play here or we want to do this. And they're like, okay, cool. Or like I could DM a band about merch and be like, hey, who does your merch? And they're like, actually, I don't have anybody, or this person sucks. And I'd be like, okay, cool, let's do this. And it was just like instantly being able to contact anybody and everybody was amazing because it was just my way of being like, I want to learn about this or I want to do this.
And you can DM them and in your bed at midnight if you want to.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be in the office or anything.
Yeah. But the thing is with this and like the podcast and like all this other stuff is it's just like, we're interested in the sciencey, nerdy craftsmanship of this industry and talking to other people about it and growing everybody else's shop who's into the same thing to me is like amazing that we can all be on the same field and we can all learn how to better the craft of printing to make printing better. I feel like if we were all still doing the guarded secrets thing, like I feel like certain shops would just like dominate because they fucking paid for all the answers and the custom inks of the world would just be taking over because all these other people would just be still always just trying to figure shit out. That's like easy, simple stuff. And I feel like us spreading the word of this is just making everybody a better craftsman to make it to where you can just go down the street to an amazing printer. And you don't just have to call up 1-800 fucking t-shirts or something and go there. So I don't know. That's how I look at it. Like I love sharing. And it's selfish too, just because it's my passion. It's my hobby. And talking to you guys about printing is my favorite part of the week. So I don't know. That's what it is. Seeing your beautiful faces.
Yeah, I love it too. I was on a walk this morning and I just wasn't in the mood. I was like, oh, I have this podcast later, but I don't know. I don't really feel like talking right now. This was this morning, but I know that like once I sit down and I log in and it starts going, that I totally will.
And I start busting your balls.
Yeah. I just had to get here, and get in just start it. And then next thing you know, it's like, I'm having a great time. So I think, though, that a lot of times, stuff I say or stuff that you say, Dylan, maybe isn't even the best way to do it for whoever maybe is listening.
Definitely not.
And we're just doing it what kind of works at our shop now. And maybe it's even broken. Like our method that we're using is probably not the best and I don't even know it. And so that's why I have a question for you. And that is, Covered in Ink Ryan or consultants like him. I was thinking to myself, like, there's a couple things you want to change. One, and I think that if I held a meeting and we all sat around and we said, okay, well, here's where we want to get to. How do we get there? We could figure it out as a team here, like people that are here now, right? But there's all these personalities and we only have the knowledge of like what's happening at our shop. And also we are working on other things right now while we're trying to figure out that other thing and implement this other thing. Is it fair to say, do you think that if you had an outside consultant, somebody that comes in, that's not in our circle, right? Not in our loop, that, they're coming in fresh and like just figuring out like, okay, well, how does this shop work? They're coming in that they've been in a ton of other shops and they've seen other examples. Like I haven't been in a ton of other shops. I've talked to a lot of other shops, but I haven't actually been there and seen like how it flows. So you have this person that comes in and not only are they bringing in experience and knowledge from other shops, but shops that they've actually worked at too. But this third party thing, like that, and I think that component is like maybe the most important because I'm going to have a press operator and maybe a production manager and people that have been here for years, right? That are kind of, maybe some of them are stubborn, maybe some of them aren't, but there's a mix of people here. And isn't it great to have this outside person that is going to suggest things that, well, wait a second, I might listen to them, because of who they are instead of maybe listening to me or their coworkers. Do you know what I mean? Do you think there's a difference there?
I think it's super important. That's like the reason why I try to take every opportunity to visit shops when I can, because you walk into someone else's shop and you see exactly how they're doing stuff. And it's always the littlest things that you're like, fuck, why did I not think of that? And then like, it's just like helping yourself with like, oh, I could do this better in my place. I could do this better in my place. And then there's things that like you do that they don't do that you're like, oh, fuck, dude, didn't you know you could use this? And they're like, oh, really? And it's the same thing as us talking here, but it's like physically being in places. But yeah, people like Ryan and Matt and like other consultants that like, that's all they've done. You know what I mean? Is work at some really big shops and then travel and consult and all that stuff. It's the same thing. They're just sucking in all that knowledge they've learned from all these like amazing print shops. And they're walking into yours and being like, hey, I've been to this shop, and this shop that's had the same problem as you. And I've been to this shop, and this shop that's figured it out. And this is how they did it. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think change is painful. I think that if I want to, if I want to get in shape, it's painful. If I want to change something here, it's painful. Like we just went through this whole, we knocked down our front wall and installed this new counter. And then finally on Thursday, we're going to get our top. But while we were doing this, like there was dust fucking everywhere. We had to displace like all of those people. There was people working on a couch and in different spots. It was a mess. That's painful. And I think that, and in fact, like I have a feeling like if, I want Ryan to come here. And when he comes here, I have a feeling he's going to take like some walks with some people. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be people who are saying like, no. Like, I don't want to change that. And he's going to say, hey, let's just take a walk. Like, what's going on? Like we're trying to make this place better. And let's talk about why you're frustrated or negative. And so that you can come back here with the right mindset of, okay, yeah, I'm ready to make that change. Because I think that the people part of it is probably going to be the hardest part of what I'm about ready to try and do.
It definitely is. It's funny too, because like, I love Ryan, and Ryan came and when he was on his way somewhere else and we hung out for the day and whatever. And he wasn't here consulting, but he was just here hanging out and I showed him around the shop and stuff. But like, you feel like in your head that like you've got shit under control and you know how to do what it is you're doing and you do it well. And then you have someone in from another shop like that, or someone that's super knowledgeable on stuff, and they start looking at your stuff and you're instantly sweating. You're like, what is he going to find that I'm doing?
Yeah, you're going to, you as an owner and me as an owner, we're going to have to be okay with being
That's
criticized.
The thing is, I feel like you need to be mentally prepared to be like open to constructive criticism. You need to be like, hey, like this might be working, but this is actually not how this is done. And this
Ryan's going to have to take a walk with me mostly. Yeah. We're going to have to go on a lot of walks is what you're saying.
Right. Like I really want Ryan to come in. We've already talked about doing some like water-based stuff with him and coming in and just finding a better flow for me having that runaround guy doing stuff and figuring stuff out. Like Ryan wants to help me out with that, and I'm totally cool with that. But again, it's just like having that resource is awesome. Dave,
well, I feel like,
have you had anybody in your place at all?
We've had other shops come in, and it's that exact feeling like, oh, what are they going to find? Like, don't let them see our orange. It looks like shit.
Right.
But I feel like you just set the foundation for Screen Printing Impossible, a reality show with an angry dude running around yelling at the non-compliant business owner.
The Gordon Ramsay of screen printing.
Bar rescue or whatever.
Bar rescue. Yeah. That's it.
Rescue.
But I think like with Ryan or whoever it is, whatever consultant, or if a different shop comes in or whoever it is that, and he does take a walk with somebody or he is communicating with somebody. I mean, that person's going to share something with Ryan, for example, that person wouldn't share with me because I can fire them. If they share something with me, I can be like, well, fuck that. You're done. Like, get out of here. It's over with. Whereas with Ryan, maybe they'd share more and they'd get to the root of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Is that
Well, it's
fair?
funny. We've talked to a couple people now that like he's been to their shop and they're like, yeah, like they got me out of the business. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
needed to realize that I shouldn't be micromanaging all these areas. And he put me in my place basically and like said, this is a better way to do this. And now they're doing it. And they're like, fuck, I should have done this so much earlier. But it's just funny. Like there was something Ryan saw. He was coming through. I showed him the shop and like he came through fulfillment and he saw like, I don't remember what it was. It was like a hoodie or something that was for on the shelf for fulfillment. He looked at it and I knew as soon as he started looking at it that he was going to judge the print on it. But the thing was it was a transfer because it was like some fulfillment transfer thing. And he looked at me and he started rubbing it. He was like, oh, sweetheart. And I was just like, oh, fuck me. Like, and then I had to be like, oh, it's a transfer. And he was like, oh, okay. But I'm glad it was that he found that he judged and not like anything else because I didn't want that. You know what I mean? I didn't want him to come in and be like, oh yeah. Like give me that look of like, you're fucking this up. Is it you? One of you two? I hear an actual cricket.
So that I was waiting. I've been waiting for this because there's been multiple bugs. My garage door is open.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I finished talking and there was literal crickets.
Yeah, crickets. Because you nailed it. We were speechless.
Right.
What? If it drives you nuts, I can shut the garage door.
No, you're
keep
good.
talking.
It's very faint in the background.
Good. That was perfectly timed, though.
I want to hear more about you, Dave. Like what happened? You did the garage thing. You did the asshole people in your apartment. You did the above the pizza place. How did you get where you are now? And you looked at like you guys are doing amazing and you just expanded. So how did you get from 6-color single station to doing what you're doing now and being more passionate about it and more grounded?
This question's right on cue. So I had we had a couple people working at our old shop printing manually, and they all left on the same week. And it was like extenuating circumstances, post office, another commute was brutal. So I had a ton of work I had to get done, and I hadn't printed manually for a while. So I called up Ryan and asked to find somebody local that was that had an S-Rock, because I wanted an auto, and I didn't want an MNR. So I got in touch with our friends down the street in Brockton, and they had us down that night and printed like 12 hours of manual printing in an hour and a half. And I was like, done. Like,
sign me
I
up.
never want to print manually ever again. So I literally went, so that was like a Thursday night. Friday morning, I called Ryan up and I said, like, get me the same press. And at that point I had already I just signed a lease for the spot we're in now. So we went from like second floor office to ground level garage door, like 2,500 square feet. And I was like, I got the room, it'll time up, move wise, equipment wise, it'll land. And the only thing I didn't have was money. So I bought the press.
It's not an important component at all.
Well, I figured there was like you give them a deposit. So for $3,000, for $3,000, I put my name on the list, and it was right before one of the shows. So they were like, I was like, what's the lead time? They're like, right now it's 3 months, but after the show, it'll be 5 to 6. And so I was like, all right, take my money, put my name on the list. And then I knew I had, 3 months to figure out where to get the money. And I couldn't get a loan right away. So my local bank just didn't want to cooperate.
I've been down that road.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. They were just being tight. It was a weird time, I think. And then, but also it was weird. But I had some lady from the other local bank. She had sold us payroll a couple of years earlier, and she walked in and she's like, if you sign this, I'm not selling payroll. I'm doing commercial lending. if you sign this piece of paper and give me $100, I'll give you 50 grand. If you sign this other piece of paper and give me another $100, I can get you a line of credit for 50 grand.
So it was the Matrix. She came in with like a pill and a pill.
It was, and yeah, I took both of them and had 100 grand. And that's, you know, solved some of the problems.
Right.
So
you got the space, got the auto.
Got the space, got the auto.
When you bought the auto, did you buy a dryer too?
Yes. So I bought a workhorse. What's the big quartz one?
I don't know what it's called. I know what you're talking about.
I got the big one, and we got it back to the shop, and it was very clearly involved in a fire. So there was like this much lint in the bottom tray, and then like 6 t-shirts stuck in the exhaust fan, all melted. And then the belt was, I remember the belt just was torched, big old hole. So like, that's cool. So we spent a bunch of money, fixing that, only to immediately start lighting shirts on fire in it.
My favorite part is it's literally how I look at things is like, I could go out to my dryer and like something exploded, like shit's fucked. Like you just look at your day and you're like, this thing is fucked right now. And the very first thing I would do, like someone would come in and tell me, and they would expect me to like blow up on this thing. I'd be like, that's cool. Like, that's my way of processing of like, fuck me. Like, oh, that's cool. And then I'll just turn around and shut my office door and just cry in here for a little while until I can figure it out.
Yeah.
Now you're saying that dryer specifically would catch things on fire because it was quartz or something? Like it was you had to get rid of it?
We had such we had a really hard time with it. The bulbs oscillated so much so they'd turn on, and anytime we put that PRM, that special blend from Independent, this was the final. So everything, like it would dye migrate, it would torch. It would work for like the very basic jobs that you could cook at 340 and not feel terrible about. So we had it for like a year. And then I told the guys the next time, I was like, next time this thing gives us issues, like I'll just pull the trigger. We'll get a tunnel. And end of that week, we throw through a ton of Independent special blend hoodies and turned that gunmetal gray, the heather gray, we turned them all pink. So I was like, okay, that hurt. It cost us like $5 grand.
You were like, okay, cool.
Yeah, sweet.
Okay, cool. And then went home, shut the lights off. we call that go home, go to bed, wait for tomorrow.
No, we this is terrible. We laid them all out, sprayed them with hydrogen peroxide, and actually was able to save enough of them where it didn't make me want to throw up. But our accountant's awesome. And I just explained to her, I was like, listen, like I'm lighting stuff on fire. I need another loan. And she's like, okay. And same thing, bank wouldn't give us a loan. And she wrote them an email right out. She got off the phone with us, wrote them an email, said, hey, if you don't give these guys the loan they need, I'm going to pull every single one of my accounts out of there. And
will this lady give you a new pair of shoes if you don't pay her? Like, will she?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
That's concrete shoes. Like you'll end up at the bottom of the river. Like,
no, got it. I wouldn't. Yeah, Don K. She's the best. If you're out here and need an accountant, Don K. That's my
she'll
plug.
break your kneecaps. All right, continue.
So we got the dryer, and that was. Have you ever purchased something, and been like, "Holy shit, I bought the wrong thing. It's too big."
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was that experience. I was like, there's no way that thing's going to fit in here. And we had measured it out, taped it on the floor. And I was like, okay, that's the shop tip. That's my shop tip.
We always do.
Driver.
like we measure and do the same thing, like tape the floor, and it's like, oh, well, it'll fit. But when it gets here, it's always
when it gets there, it's so different.
Yeah.
It was the same with us. We got the Gauntlet 3 and we were like, oh yeah, this will fit. And this is exactly where we'll put it. This makes total sense. Like thinking about it. And then it gets here, gets installed, gets all the heads on it, gets the braces that go to the floor. And you're like, this thing is fucking massive.
Yeah. So that was, we have, I mean, it's 30 by 60 and cramming that in. It's ridiculous how much
That's
shit
the one you have now?
No, our space.
Oh.
Ours is what? It's 60 by 20. So it's, I mean, it's big. But to have it crammed in that little space, and then a year ago we bought that embroidery machine. So we had the press, the dryer, desk space, inventory, and then this big, huge embroidery machine. And just know we were literally like dragging pallets out into the parking lot every morning, so we had space to work every day.
You're like Dylan and me. You need trailers out back. That's what we want.
Dude,
you know, just a trailer.
I'm trying to buy 2 semi trailers right now.
How's that going? Because I'm trying to get I'm getting a shipping container for the office here.
Yeah, it's not bad. They're around. Like I found this, like, I don't know if it's like an auction house or something that just does shipping containers. That's like 45 minutes from here. But I want like an actual semi trailer, like with the tires and like the front braces on it to where it's dock height. Like I don't want a shipping container because my whole building is dock height.
Okay.
So what I want to do is at the end of my building where shipping and receiving is, I want to park 2 semi trailers right next to each other. And then I want to build, like put in an insulated garage door and like build a ramp that goes to both, like just goes straight. And then it bypasses both trailer doors and put a roof over it so that I can literally just pallet jack right from shipping and receiving, roll up the door on whatever one I want and roll right in and grab a pallet and come back to shipping and receiving. So to me, it's just 2 20 by 40 rooms that I can just store shit in. Mm. So if I get those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a dehumidifier in them and run electric and put lights in them and stuff. So it's just like 2 storage areas. But that's a good amount of space. Like if I ever need to do anything differently, I can always pull them out or whatever. Because right now, if I just try to extend my building, like another 40 by 40, it would cost me like a ton of money to do. But I can go buy a semi trailer for like $3,000. So for $6,000, I can have another 40 by 40 space for just stocking shirts.
Does the roof just put itself on by itself though?
Well, my dad will do that, but even that, like building the decking and putting a roof on, even if it's $5,000, like I'm spending $11,000 to have another 40 by 40 space.
It's clever.
So that's what I'm doing.
Andy, you're out of walls to knock down. So
correct. Yep. This is it. Yeah. So same deal, you know, and I think that's like the most overlooked part of your shop is that just shirt storage, you know, just a place to put stuff, you know, when it comes in, and it can be it can really slow you down. You know, you're tripping over pallets and boxes and all that.
Well, the thing is you get one customer that calls you and is like, hey, I want 10,000 hoodies. Mm. You're like, okay, cool. That's like 15 pallets or more or whatever it is. It's like, where do you fucking put it? And what do you do when you need to do multiple locations on it too? So it's like moving stuff around. So just having trailers to just be like, okay, here's all that order in one trailer. And then when you need it, you pull it out. It's not in the way. It's not blocking shipping, receiving. It's whatever. It's just out of the way. The nice thing would be like, I don't know, for you guys, it sounds like you're like ground level where you could just literally in a parking lot, put like shipping containers on the ground and just wheel them out. I just don't have that. My building is all raised up.
That's actually, we're out of parking spots, which is a weird problem to have.
I had that before.
Yeah.
I've had that issue before.
There now.
Yeah. And that stinks because before there was another tenant in this building and we sort of competed for parking, you know, and that was no fun. So it's part of getting this extra space was that we have all the parking, which is fantastic.
Right. But you can park your Maserati out back.
Ferraris. Yeah.
Right. Ferraris, multiple.
Yeah. Right. The guys, there's an import what's it called? What do you call it? They
Import car
mechanic.
dealer? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no mechanic. Like they work on cars back there. That
When I went to visit Andy's, like
Ferraris.
out back behind his shop, there's literally just like super nice Ferraris all parked.
all
out there.
supercars.
He's like, I like to bring people back here and
Mm.
say this is our parking lot or whatever.
Yeah. I had an okay, cool moment on Friday here, and that is we print for a customer that delivers their shirts out of box, so it's in a bin. They're all like stacked on a pallet. It's sort of in a way, but the pallet's protected by cardboard. They call them bins, B-I-N. Well, we were running them. They were long sleeves, and we were running them, and I had forgotten that the last time we ran long sleeves for them, that they asked us, they come in dozens, folded in 12s. And so that's why we shipped them back that way. Well, they came in on dozens just the same way this time, and we folded them back into dozens. And I had forgotten that they wanted them folded into 6s. And so we got halfway through the job. And so, and it was my fault. And so I felt like a piece of shit. And so I went over there and we were like halfway through. And so I think I refolded into into 6s, like 3,000 shirts on Friday afternoon. At the end of the day, like the last thing I did.
Oof.
But when
It's a fun Friday night.
I felt like, do you ever run in that situation where like it was my fault, it was my mistake, and I didn't want to have quality control do it? I was like, look, I got it. Like, I'll
All
go
the
do
time.
it.
I'll do
do
that
that.
with films. Anytime I mess up a film, I have them set the screens aside and I reclaim them.
You just feel like a dick. You know what I mean? You feel like,
Yeah.
oh, this was my mistake, but you fix it. You know what I mean? That goes back to the same thing of like someone emailing you and wanting to put an order in. It's not in your wheelhouse. I feel like every time that order comes in, something on it's fucked up because it's not my normal thing. And it's like the same thing happened with an order last week. It's like, I don't know, it's like 70 boxes and it's got to get split ship into different venues it's going to or whatever. And like if I was normally doing these orders all the time, I would have had 2 separate invoices, or I would have had notes on the invoice of like, this count goes to this venue, this count goes to this venue. And what I ended up doing, because I was busy, is I just went up to Chris and I was like, hey, the customer wants a third of the order to go to this venue and the 2/3 to go to this venue. And like, he had to separate it all. And then after he got separating it, I got thinking, I was like, fuck, did I give him like the right addresses for this? And like all this sort of stuff. But you don't realize like there's so much work and stress that goes on him of like not knowing with 75 boxes, like where's it going or what's it doing? Because what he's doing is when he gets them in, he's checking them in. And then when he finishes one box, he's writing like the weight, the dimensions, and where it's going on every box. So that way, when he makes the labels before they print, they can take them out of the box, put them back in the box, and it gets taped and shipped. So like he's got to go through and do that to 70 boxes. And for me to just willy-nilly be like, oh, it's a third of this and this and this, and nothing's written down, there's so many more chances for shit to get fucked up. And
Dave, do you have somebody that's full-time in shipping and receiving that handles that sort of stuff?
I mean, technically, yeah, it's Ratana. It's my wife. But there's only 5 of us. 5. So it's lots of people wearing lots of hats on a few people.
Right. The hard part is just making sure stuff like that is organized, because I feel like that's where a lot of things fall through the cracks and a lot of things get messed up. It was outside of protocol. You know what I mean? Like some people get so used to doing something a certain way and then they feel like the rules don't apply to them. Like me as an owner, I'll walk out and do something that I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And then I don't do all the steps. You know what I mean? I don't make the mock-up, or I don't put in the Pantones or the whatever. Like I'm like, oh, I'll get to that later. And then the whole order gets messed up because you didn't follow protocol.
Breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Dylan, want to do some
what?
listener questions?
Sure.
Or a listener question? I got
listener.
something here.
Are the crickets driving anybody nuts yet?
I love it. It's just like a soothing,
All right.
It's soothing.
Hold on.
They're really loud now.
They're super loud. I didn't expect it, and this microphone's picking it all up, and I can.
It's totally fine.
Oh, here you go. Sorry.
What was that, a fart noise?
I don't know. I think that's listener questions. The sound I was supposed to play.
I think you blew it.
Yeah, you blew it. It literally just sounds like a hot fart.
That's what it is. Exactly. That's what I was going for.
Okay, cool.
All right. So the listener question is, and it comes from Cedar City Print. And he asks, for people just getting into an auto, what is your biggest piece of advice that you think is essential for their success?
Well,
I think he asked that.
I'm going to
he's
say Dave
getting an
answers
auto.
this because I feel like his story of going from manual to get me that auto.
So I was really fortunate where I had a really good printer when we got the auto. If you don't have a really good printer, ask all the questions when the tech's there and videotape it all. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of late nights just trying to dial all the little intricacies in. And
Have a really good printer. Was he a manual, or he or she a manual printer or auto printer?
Both. He worked both. Preferred manual, but yeah, it was pretty good. He was great.
I've always heard of those people that are like so ingrained in manual that they're like, I'm better, I'm faster on the manual. Just put me on the manual and leave me alone.
Yeah. I feel like that anytime we do sleeves.
Yeah, no, for real. I don't know. I feel like, what was the question with like, what would you do? Like, what's more efficient?
This question is for people just getting an auto. What is your biggest piece of advice that you think is essential for their success?
I feel like just being prepared, like doing your research on, like, it goes back to like having the right space, making sure you have the chiller and the air compressor and the electric are in and ready, and then having employees to run it. Like, it's not the same with a manual. It's like, okay, now you need a person loading. You might need a person unloading. You're going to need a dryer that's suitable for an auto. You're going to need somebody at the end of the dryer catching because you're going to be printing more shirts faster. So it's just like having all those things in place. I feel like, yeah, you can just buy an auto and be like, I'm a one-man show and I'm just going to do this.
That's how I was.
Right.
I mean,
but
I got
I'm just
the
saying,
auto.
like, if you're getting an auto to be the next evolution in your business to grow, like if you really want to grow and get efficient in that process, you should have all those things in place.
I guess. I mean, I got the auto thinking in my garage, actually, the first auto. And so my shirts fell into a box. You know, I didn't have anybody offloading for me. I loaded and offloaded. I did everything. Right. And so, how was I successful though? I don't really know. Like, I was more about like, well, I'd already known for 5 years how to manually print. And so I had that knowledge, but I don't know what my advice would be other than it changes with the auto. Everything has to be more exact, you know, like it's sort of like starting over in some ways. You know, you have to learn different pressures and different angles and different speeds. All this stuff though, once you do it and once you run a few jobs, if you're familiar with printing, it's going to come pretty quick and you'll get it figured out and you'll be able to control everything so much easier.
And if you're going to mess something up, you're going to mess up a way harder than if you were doing it manually.
I was so adverse to multi-printing at first.
What's that mean?
Revolving, multi-printing, revolving, same, but different. And now, so I've gone through a couple stretches where, like right now, I'm the printer. And and my buddy Johnny from Maui, fucking just spin it, get it done. I mean, you were saying the same thing a while back where embarrassingly you had to spin however many times to get a job done. And ultimately, like, if it's not the wear and tear on your body, just fucking spin it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like to answer that question is just, you know, do what you got to do, be prepared. And I mean, it's definitely a huge difference. It's going to be a life changer for sure.
Yeah.
I know,
But
thinking
depends
about it a
on
little
what
bit
kind of
further,
business you want to be.
I guess my advice is going to be this: just take it slow. Like, it's already so much better, right? You're already going to be so much faster. Don't get on the automatic and try and go fast and think like, oh, I'm going to max this fucking thing out at 85,000 an hour and I'm going to blaze through jobs. Don't do that.
It's not
just get on the auto, take it slow, and be happy that you're printing automatically and you're not killing your wrists or whatever, you know? And so I would just take it easy the first month or so. And then all of a sudden it's going to start to click. And that's how it works here when somebody's, you know, never worked on an auto before and they're around it for a month. The next thing you know, like they're ready to go. So take it slow though.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my advice.
That's great advice. Tremendous.
Questions for us. I feel like you already asked us a bunch of questions.
I hit it, right?
You interviewed us the first half. So
I was so excited. I just,
I love it.
So now we have,
Oh God.
is he blowing it with these?
Hard as
did you
usual.
hear that?
No,
Did you hear it?
no.
Why can't you hear that?
Why
Chad,
are we not
insert.
adding these in after the fact?
Okay, Chad, put that in, please. I don't know. I
Shit.
guess I'm ruining it.
Can Chad put that in
Oh.
real quick? And I'm going to shut this garage door because I know
Yeah.
these. I'm going to give me 1 sec.
The comments on this episode are just
They're
going to be
going
like
to be brutal. Sorry.
they're crickets.
They were like slowly invading into his shop. It sounded
Oh, I
like.
know. Like at first it was like a cricket in the background, and now it's
Right.
like 900 crickets.
Better?
I can
Better.
still hear them,
Better.
but it's not.
Why
as
didn't
loud.
you? Yeah, they're psychos. I don't understand. It's like Andy's bird problem.
Oh God.
They are, I don't know what happened, but there aren't any birds out there. Are birds real?
You killed them all.
I guess so. Shop hacks.
Shop hacks, or I got a couple questions. I got some fun
Yeah,
ones.
no, keep going with questions.
Some fun. You can rapid fire these. Andy, is there any other examples aside from Dylan running a successful screen printing shop where he's had just like dumb luck?
You're asking Andy this question?
Yeah. Because I feel like he's going to give us a good answer.
So me having a successful print shop was dumb luck.
Dude, you play it off so coy. Where you're just like, yeah, you know, we show up, we print some shirts, we eat steak, ride some bikes. And it like Andy and the rest of the print industry are over like yanking our hair out, pulling teeth, trying to figure out how to get shit done. And you're both independently killing it, but
You got to keep it casual, man. All right, Andy, give him the fucking sauce.
I don't have it. I mean, I don't know. I think the largest reason for my success is I just kept at it, you know? I just came here every single day.
You right now are a motivational poster, like the cat on the branch that just says, just hang in there.
Andy totally skirted away from like throwing you under the bus or something. Fine.
I know he doesn't.
That's fair. You didn't answer the question about having a full-time ink mixer. So
I was going to say something, but I love Dylan so much. And I feel like
Give it to
the
me.
last episode, I kind of gave it to him pretty hard. So I'm going easy today.
I like it when you give it to me hard.
There you go. Well, I don't know, man. Like, I just think that's probably what, that's what it is. Just that I would come in here and I had no idea what I was doing. And then, I would choose and take my best guess, and then it would be right or wrong. And if it were right, I'd be like, cool. Okay, cool. If it was wrong, I'd be like, okay, cool. And I would just, either way, you know, make adjustments along the way over the years, and eventually figured it out. It takes me a little longer to figure things out, I think, than most people, but I kept at it. So my mom always tells this story.
Mama always said.
Mama said alligators are so ornery. So I think that my mom always tells the story of like when I was first on swim team, like I was the fucking worst. Like they were probably pointing and laughing like, what's wrong with this kid? Because kids would be out of the pool done after the race and like dried off, and I would be in the pool. Right. Well, I didn't care. Like I finished and I kept at it, and eventually like I won, so like it's tough. Like, I think you just can't give up. Because there's
your mom's heart.
I did, because there's a lot of times where I want to fucking give up still. I almost quit screen printing this week, like twice. And I didn't though. And so
I just want to pull the veil, and I know it plays off like it's all fucking rainbows and steaks and motorcycles and all that other stuff. But like it's not my secret, I guess, is that it is and it isn't. Like when we're here working and we have like a normal day's worth of work and shit to do, like everybody's in a mode. Like we all get along really well, and there's days where we don't get along really well. But like I feel like 9 times out of 10 we tend to come back as like a group of friends and family or whatever that are just kind of like, let's go do something together, or like let's go to the movies, or let's get steaks or whatever. But like during the workday, like in 9 to 5, like we're just cranking. Like music's playing in the shop, music's playing in the office. We all are in our own areas, just getting shit done. But then someone will pop out of an office room and be like, "Hey, last night, this happened," and then we all pop out of our offices and we all start talking about fucking dick and fart jokes for like a half an hour, and then we'll go back to working again. And it's like, oh, it's a beautiful sunny day, and some of us rode bikes today. It's like, all right, let's ride to lunch together or whatever. I feel like you just need to take time to be like, everyone needs to know it's serious time and it's time to like get work done and be productive. But then when it's time to fucking joke around and be buds, like joke around and be buds with each other. So really that's what it is. It's a lot of what Andy just said. It's literally taking it day by day and just not giving up on shit. Like something comes along and some people just give up on it and they're like, well, fuck it. Like, I guess we're not doing that anymore. And one thing I do a lot is we take on stuff all the time that's like challenging. It's something that's not in our wheelhouse as far as printing like all the time, but we constantly are taking those on because I want to learn, I want to improve. And that's how we get better at things. So I don't know. A lot of it is just like have a good attitude about everything. Like I feel like me and a lot of people here are just like, all right, it's stressful. Like Chris is super known for that, of like, it's stressful, and he'll just like crack a joke about something and it just like takes the stress off of everybody instantly. It's like, all right, like it's just t-shirts. Like let's fucking get through it and let's just like
great line.
Keep going.
Dave, what is your secret sauce?
I'm still trying to figure it out. That's part of that challenge, like figuring out that we were talking about earlier, is I got to be better at that stuff, taking the time, not taking ourselves so serious, remembering to stop and have fun with this. Cause this is I forgot up until Portugal and the shows in Chicago, I forgot that this industry is kind of awesome. So
yeah,
honestly, that's something I'm trying to figure out.
And I feel like a lot of people need to realize that we're doing fun shit. Like we're creating art and we're like helping people like their art become like reality on a shirt or on a poster or whatever it is we're printing. Like we're just fucking printing t-shirts. We're like, don't take it so seriously. Like it's a business or whatever, but it's like, just have fun, like do the craft.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I see stuff all the time, like on Instagram or other socials where like shops are like having shows like in the shop. I'm like, fuck, that's awesome. Yeah. Like I wish we had shows here, or, people are doing certain things in the shop that I'm just like, man, I wish we did that. And it's motivation to be like, all right, maybe we need to, stop at 4:00 on this day and just do this thing to like, not as like a dumb, like fucking trust fall thing or something stupid like shit like that, but just to be like, let's just do something fun. Like there's something literally I bought for a birthday party a while ago. Those big like blow up balls that you get in and just run into each other.
Yes.
Like I bought those for a party, and then I brought them here, and I still like just need one of these days to just blow them up and then just be like, hey guys, come outside, and be like, who is going to let me run into them at full speed with one of these on? Like, it's shit like that. It's just like, dude, just do some shit that's fun.
feel like Monday morning at Upstate's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm just going to get them out first thing Monday morning and I'm a big person. I feel like if I ran into one of the small people here, I would launch them into the fucking atmosphere.
You look tiny in that chair.
Thanks. It's very high back. All right, next question. We didn't rapid fire that at all.
No, that wasn't rapid fire. This one though. This is like an inside shop joke, but I feel like it carries over. Last time you got a phone call from a rapper, band, or musical artist who's going to be the next big thing, what was their name? Looking for one shirt, specifically looking for one shirt before they become the next big thing.
Oh, like wanted a super tiny order and then became a big thing?
But didn't. I butchered
didn't
that.
become a big thing? That's
so
daily.
We get daily. Okay. What was do you get
the last one? The last one we did. I don't know if this is the last one we did, but one that sticks in my mind that when you asked that question was we got an order for like 24 shirts. It was like white ink on black shirts, and it was right before she blew up. It was Charlie XCX.
Oh wow, okay.
XCX, right? She like placed an order and like got some shirts, and then I feel like I saw her on like MTV or like on TV like a month later, and now she's like this massive thing. But that was like the smallest, like low key one. And there was one when I was in Georgia. Like I said, this happens all the time. Like we'll get an order for somebody, and eventually I just stopped paying attention after a while. But we used to do stuff for Zach Brown when I was in Georgia. Cool. And it was just like he was just a local guy playing music or whatever and just ordered shirts. And then eventually, I mean, now it's Zach Brown. It's like massive.
Yeah. Okay, Dylan, you done flexing? Next question.
I'm flexing. I'm talking about bullshit small orders.
So
we just printed for Kanye, and it's like, it was a little order or whatever, but he got big, I guess.
Ours was G-Walk sock, and before we could do the order, he ended up in jail, so nobody knows about him.
That's awesome.
Hey, those shirts are probably worth a lot now, though.
Yeah.
You kept them, yeah?
We didn't even get there. It was like, hey, can you do this one shirt? And then he's in jail.
We did an order. I guess he lives around here or I don't know, somewhere. And it was a totally different band name or whatever, but I kind of recognized his name, and his wife is like the manager, and she's like, oh, we need some shirts for, so-and-so's like solo project band or whatever. And I was like, oh, that name sounds really familiar. I Googled it, and it was the singer for the Bare Naked Ladies. And he has like a solo band or whatever that does pretty well. They ordered a bunch of stuff, but the funny thing is they wanted to pick up. And I was like, nobody fucking picks up from here. Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, they were like, oh, we want to pick up. So I guess they're only like an hour away or whatever they live. But I really badly wanted to play fucking like Bare Naked Ladies music, like cranked in the shop when he picked up, just to make it like super embarrassing.
It's more flex coming from Dylan.
It's not flex, it's a story. Whatever. Hey, fuck you guys.
It's a good story, Dylan. Great story. All right. Next
question.
So we kind of touched on this, but like managing people, specifically like printers, how do you keep those dudes happy and not just like spinning machine? You kind of talked about it a little bit where you're having people in other episodes, people like help set up, break down, but like
I feel like in all honesty, that makes it worse.
Yeah. For me, it would. I'd go nuts. So what's something you guys are doing to like help keep those dudes happy and stoked? And
I don't know the answer to that question, and I wish I did. I just feel like at a certain point, printers get burnt out on just running the press all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find ways to make it refreshing for them. But it's the same thing of like, I personally as a business want to make things more efficient. And again, like we were talking about getting somebody to help on press and tear down and set up, which would make it faster to get more jobs out for the day. But I know the printers themselves like the fact of like, I just finished this job. Like I'll take I'll take the job down and I'll scrape the screens and I'll walk over here to take a second and like check my phone while I check like the next job on the computer and, walk over to get shirts or whatever. I feel like if I was like, hey, you need to stay within this circle all day long and people are just going to bring you jobs and all you have to do is set up and tear down, they're going to be like, I don't like this job as much anymore.
Yeah.
So like, I really don't know the answer to that question, and I would love to figure that out.
Well, I don't have the answer either. And apparently I think I'm doing some things wrong based off of a 4-hour conversation I had yesterday. But just hearing you say that, though, it occurred to me that, maybe the thing to do, because like the last thing you want is for the press not to run, right? And so you want, in theory, you want the press running all the time. I mean, that's how you pay all the bills. And
right,
so
that's what I mean. It's hard.
And that's hard. So what if you did this? Like, what if people just rotated? So let's say you had a press operator, press assistant, and an ink, we call it the ink pit, where people scrape screens and put away inks and things like that. But what if you just rotated throughout the day? Like if you
could, but you would just need to have more talented printers.
Well, that's okay. You can work towards that. I mean, it's something that be accomplished within a couple months at the most. And so, if you're telling me that, of course, everybody's different. Some printers, like there was a printer, there was a press on Friday that ran the same job the whole entire day, same job. And so, and when I went over there, I was like, hey, is this getting monotonous? Are you
good?
This cool? Like, are you okay? Yeah. Like just to check in. And he's like, actually, yeah, like this is what I want to be doing, but on other days they prefer to set up and tear down, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like 10 times.
I had the exact same thing this week, and Zach ran the same shirts for 3 days straight. Like he did the fronts and the backs, but it was the same job. And he, by the end of it, looked at me and was like, I'm okay with printing this kind of stuff, but don't make it every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he was like, yeah, he was just like, it's okay. Like this is my job, but like, please don't give me this type of work every week.
Yeah, it takes a toll. It would just take a toll on your body. That's for sure. I mean,
yeah.
Dave, I think you hit something really, really good. Like that's a really excellent question. I don't know that you can make somebody happy all the time at a shop. No matter, regardless if they're running a press or if they're running an embroidery machine or a shipping machine, whatever role that is. I don't know if it's possible because I see, and I don't know when people are
up to them.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess that's true, and that's why I try to hire positivity. But at the same time, when burnout happens and when you've been doing the same thing so much, I mean, yeah. So I think what's really, really important, and I think to solve this is, and then we can move on. My last thought anyway, would be that I need to check in with them more. I need to have conversations because I walk by the press and like, how's it going? Just like I told you I did on Friday, that guy, but I need to really check in and like on a sit down once a month just to say, how's it going? Like, is everything good? Like, are you good? Or like, would you prefer it as to run a job and then to actually tear it out and walk over and scrape some screens and then have somebody else run the next job? Would you prefer that? Because if so, let's make it happen. I think those conversations are probably what retains and keeps employees. And I have them, but I don't have them enough.
I think the only other thing I would say is maybe if you get burnout on a printer that's been doing it a long time and it's just kind of, you feel like they're slipping away, like they might want to leave at some point because they're just kind of over it, is to just give them another job.
You mean within your shop?
Yeah. Be like, oh, do you want to do this now? Because I feel like press operator is like the highest they can go in the printing department, is like you running the press, other than being like a shop manager or whatever. Yeah. But like, if you already have that role filled, it's not like, oh, hey, you're shop manager now.
Right.
But maybe you could give them that role of like, okay, you're in charge of pre-press now. Like you're that guy, that runaround guy.
Well,
and they would be really good at it because they know how to do it.
I think a lot of times a person might want to be a shop manager, but once they are a shop manager, they won't want to be a shop manager.
Oh yeah. Because of the fucking stress of like telling people what to do and yelling at people.
Sometimes sometimes you think you want that different role. And until you go and work it for a week or 2 weeks or a month, you might just say, I fucking hate this. I just want to I want to be on press, I
want nobody to talk to me. I just to be able to print shirts all day. Yeah.
So maybe that's the answer. Maybe let them. Maybe move people around and then have a conversation with them and maybe find out. I don't know. That's a really tough question.
That's like, that's like, I feel like that's a puzzle for the entire, like most shops in the industry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's it.
I know you got one that you're like, I don't know if I should ask that.
That was that one, to be honest. The follow-up was going to be like, why aren't press operators paid more?
I mean, you want to pay everybody as much as you can, but
from like anybody who tells us screen printing is easy can eat a bag of shit.
Yeah.
Because there's days where there's days sure where it is easy, but then there's days where you're like, why isn't this working? And like to have, if there was a person on everybody's payroll that was responsible and involved in the day-to-day where they could avoid mistakes and crank out work and keep whatever people they're managing stoked. Like, again, this is something I feel like you guys have talked about a bunch, but like it's that person should be paid a lot more. And I feel like they're not. So I'm trying to figure that out too.
I mean,
you mean just like press operators in general, or just anybody in the print shop?
So, most people really. So we're like, I don't know, you're in a weird spot in the middle of nowhere, but I don't know how it is for Andy. Like we're close enough to Boston where you have like the union laborers, contractors, prevailing wage is a real thing. So like, and then you get the startups who are attracting all the like creative young people. So we're in this weird like bubble where it's like, the people we want are getting paid more to go towards these other gigs, or just falling on to like, other safer jobs that pay just a little bit more, but aren't nearly as satisfying, rewarding, or anything like that.
I feel
so
like
I don't know.
I just look at it as not necessarily like what are people in our industry paid. I look at it as like, what's the most I could pay all of my employees at one time and be still okay and growing and not hurting myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I look at it every year or every couple months and I'm just like, oh, this person's doing awesome. I would like to give them more money. Can I afford to give them more money? And if I give them more money, is it going to motivate them or keep them doing their job great? Or is it just like I'm giving them money for no reason? Or whatever. Like I've always had that mentality of like, the more we grow, the more I'm going to give to you guys. Like,
yeah.
If you put in the time and make it like grow and grow and grow, like I'm going to give you more money. But like, if we're just stagnant and nothing's changing and you have a shitty attitude and you just come to work, then it doesn't make me want to like give you more money to have you do the same shit all day.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's hard. Like I said, I feel like I look at wages as like, what can I afford to give you? Yeah. I'm in the sticks and like, rent's not as expensive and like all this other stuff. Like it's not as bad as if somebody was in the city where everything was more expensive. But I also have that other problem of like, I don't have a bunch of local stuff just walking in all day. We literally have to fight for work everywhere. Like we have to have a name or a brand that people want to come to. I'm not just the print shop in town that everybody's like, oh, well, I'm just going to go to this print shop because they're in town. So it doesn't work that way for me.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. There's a lot of shops in town and they don't leave to go to those other shops, so I always, what I mean by for more pay, for example.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's more than just the compensation package with regards to, hourly plus benefits and things like that. I think it's also the environment. I mean, we have air conditioning here, so the entire shop has AC. And, if
and you're
I'm
not going to find that many shops that are that way.
Exactly. And if I'm a press op and I have a choice of working at Shirt Kong for X amount of dollars and working somewhere else for X plus $2 an hour or whatever it would be, and they're not AC'd, well, fuck that. I'd rather stay here. And so air conditioning costs us, like our power bill is crazy. I mean, it was 91 here. It's like been in the 90s for such a long time. So, I mean, that's a cost, it's an expense, I should say, that the entire shop's climate controlled. And so I don't know, I think it's that. And then also there's, happy hour, hump day happy hours. I mean, we buy everybody drinks. Dylan, he has Barons. Dylan has snacks. We have Pop-Tarts. I mean, it's more than just, I think it's that they want to show up and they want to work somewhere where we are trying to do better and be better, and where, they are making a difference, I guess, and their coworkers, that they get along with their coworkers. And it's not just such a they don't have to show up at a toxic environment. I mean, there's something to be said for that. And so, and like with Dylan, they ride bikes and they go out and get steaks and shakes. Not at Steak and Shake though. They get steaks and shakes separately.
The funny thing is I don't want to brag about having snacks or food or anything like that anymore, because there's so many memes I see now of like that, that like big barrel of water, and it's the Flex Seal guy where there's like water coming out, and then he has on his hand like the Flex Seal he's about to smack on it, and it's like customer has issues, hates their job, whatever, and then it just shows him smacking on, and it's like pizza party, and it's like, you just think because you're a cool owner and the way you fix people hating their job is to just be like, oh, we're gonna have pizza on Friday. It's like, you need to do a little bit more than that.
You do need to do more than that, but that's one of the things.
No, I know, but it's just funny because it's like a thing now. It's like, oh, you're a boss and you're in your office counting money while we're slaving in the shop. Like, how do you make us happy? Pizza party. And it's just like, it's just a deep cut. But yeah, I mean, there's things here that like, I don't know, they're benefits, but to me, it's just like, it helps people be a little happier when they're working hard or doing whatever, is to just have like a fridge full of drinks or snacks, or, air conditioning in the office. I don't have AC in the shop, which I don't know, I'm trying to work on that, but just any benefit you can give them at all. You know what I mean? Like anything, like better stereo or, better bathrooms, or anything you can do to make their life a little cushier while they're at work is good. Like, you should do everything in your power to make sure their employees are as happy as they can be in your environment.
Have you guys noticed like a dramatic difference when have you gotten your auto reclaim yet, Dylan?
No, next month.
So when you got yours, or with that no, we're not using iImage anymore, right? Direct to screen. Did you notice like people are like thrilled to have that because that like shit job is out the window? Yeah,
I mean, it turned into a job that I like doing. And so the quality of life is definitely it's not just, oh, I need to wash a lot of screens every day or reclaim a lot of screens every day. It's also, I want my life to be better. And so that's just another one of those things. You're right. I mean, it's a job that somebody can have, but we don't even use it all day, every day at this point, because it is so fast. So it's a job we can have a person that works on that and then also works on other things. You know what I'm saying? So it's a fantastic piece of equipment.
I feel like it's just anything though. It's like any part of the shop you can improve on and get, not necessarily to be like, oh, we're faster at this, but just quality of life is good. Like, you're trying to get screens coated faster so you get a unicoat, but then it's like, it saves the person's back from like bending down and doing 200, 300 screens at a time. It's like, it's worth it for many reasons. So I feel like any of that stuff is good. All right, Andy, what were you about to say? Shop what?
Hacks. I think that's the word.
Shop hacks. You don't have a sweet fart noise for that?
No, it's like that. I think Chad, he's got one. So ready? There it is.
That'd be awesome if you nailed that. Gift cards. All those plastic gift cards or the fake credit cards you guys get. I use those to clean everything. Scrape ink, emulsion, all of it. And they're free. And that's my favorite thing that I've been doing forever.
Where are you getting them?
For a while, I was getting them from friends at restaurants. But I don't know about you guys. I just get so much spam credit card bullshit.
Yeah.
I got like fresh ones every week.
And you're reusing them, or you just use
Yeah. Sometimes you get metal ones that are real good for like hard jobs, and you never let those go.
It's awesome.
The iPad heads up. So we run Printavo. I get the car. I get all that. So when I'm on press, I get that right there with the nice little bracket thing. I went iPad and I got fired. Those fires. Tablets.
Amazon Fire ones, yeah.
Garbage. That was the worst purchase ever. The iPad ones having that there is super nice because then you can go through. We use Trello. We check that stuff off. It's great. We already talked about this. Get all the space right out of the gate. Get the biggest dryer you can, get the biggest press you can, and get as much space as you can because you're going to regret it almost immediately if you don't.
I agree with that. If you can afford it and if you have the space for it.
Sure.
Get the biggest you can of anything.
We got this is the best. I wish I had one close, but Harbor Freight has these like magnetic, like little like paper towel dispensers or like cup holders. Yes. I use those everywhere. Like side of the washout booth, side of the dryer, stock shelves. Those are the best $7 to get the whole kits. They're great. And then for emails, we were looking at different email clients like Jamilius and some other team ones. And we ended up just using Google. We've always used Google accounts, but setting up email aliases. So it's like a fake team email. And that's been a tremendous help for delegating work, but like making stuff visible for everybody. Yeah.
Sweet. Those are all good.
Pretty good. They're not Justin Lawrence good, but they're pretty good, right?
They're good.
They're good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You ready for some quick takes?
Hell yeah. Get your phone out.
I gotta get it out.
What is one thing you need every morning?
I hate this question, Andy. So I go through seasons. I'm close enough. Like I'll run to work when it's nice out. In the winter, fall, spring, I do an ice bath every morning. Yeah, dude.
Ryan style.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Wait, so you do the ice bath in the winter or the summer? What'd you say?
As often as I can. It sucks buying ice in the summer. So next couple of weeks, it'll be like 40 degrees and I won't have to do much. And that's how I start every morning when it's like chilly. Or end the day when it's super hot here, I'll grab 10 pounds of ice and do it at home.
So you'll start the morning with an ice bath. So you'll go out to the ice bath. You'll be in there for a few minutes or whatever, right? 10. Yeah. And then you go inside, do a hot shower.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure like you don't go like from the ice bath to like toweling off to clothes to work or something like that.
So here's it's the worst part of the day, no matter what. And it's out of the way first thing in the morning. And that
what are you noticing? What are you noticing from doing it?
Just you could get T-boned in traffic and you're just totally like it's forced 10 minutes of just like convincing yourself you're not dying. But also like navigating through it. And it's just like a forced meditation, breathing. Awesomeness.
I thought there's health benefits too, like for your heart.
So
and
much.
Stuff. Right.
So when I got the Rona and I was doing this all through that, up to it from immune stuff. I didn't even know I was sick. So that was like the best thing. And then I tried making the wife do it. She was not stoked, but, ice baths, running. And then I can't do much now because anytime I try and sneak out of bed early, the kiddo wakes up and is like wide awake.
Right.
So maybe just doom scrolling right now.
That is not the usual by far. Normally we get coffee and you're like, ice baths and running.
Because I don't have like a consistent thing, especially now with like Max, but yeah, so that's it.
That's good. Oh, it's awesome.
Good. All right.
All right. Best recent read, listen, or watch?
Read. I'm rereading Traction. Listen. Churchill.
Hell yeah. Good answer.
Watch. Dude, those untold stories. Somebody mentioned it the other day with the minor league hockey team, the Thrashers. It's hilarious. Is
that the one where he bought his son a hockey team?
Yes, and turned out to be the mob.
Yeah.
Those are really
I saw
good.
that preview. I need to watch that, huh?
Dude, it's hilarious. And then that 100-foot wave show, I'm a sucker for all things surf culture. So that 100-foot wave show on HBO.
That's on Netflix or whatever, isn't it?
HBO, I think.
Or HBO, yeah.
It's all the same, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah, I have like 4 services and I can't keep straight what's what
Yeah.
in any of them.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Don't take everything so serious. Say yes to doing cool shit more. And travel way more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
What would you be doing if you weren't running a print shop?
Something blue collar. I don't know. Batteries, maybe. That'd be a good default. I don't know. Batteries. Public.
I agree with you. I would be like hands-on, blue collar kind of stuff.
Yeah, we had a bunch of like police officers and firefighting in the family that they always got good stories.
You would be a rad firefighter with that mustache and mullet.
Yeah, be
Fit
pretty
right
cool.
in. Yeah,
That'd be cool to do the Goggins thing and just go jump into brush fires right now, like not need to. Yeah, I don't know, some blue collar, something like that.
I like it. Andy, you want me to do the next one?
Yeah, do the next one.
Oh,
What's your favorite thing to cook?
steak,
How do you cook your steak?
cast iron.
Good, man. That's what I was hoping you'd say. With a whole stick of butter.
Whole stick, all the garlic,
Yep.
something fresh out of the garden.
Fuck yeah.
I missed that tonight. Special for you guys.
You can cook it when you get home.
Maybe it's still early.
I still got to cook when I get home.
I got
Same.
It's doable.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you're
so this is
behind.
perfect. What's for dinner tonight? And there you go. I think you answered it.
Yeah, let's do some steak. What are you having?
I don't know. what
The
I'm
opposite
having.
of steak.
Yeah, not steak.
Does Andy not eat meat? Is he a vegan?
No, I do.
Seems like you would be though, right?
A little bit. He gets
That's a
weird every
compliment,
time.
right? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You just look healthy and refreshed,
Mm.
and I don't.
No, I love steak. It's just that I don't know. And we tend to not eat a lot of red meat, but
One of the best steaks I ever had, or meat I ever had, was with Andy.
yeah,
So.
I've got the best meat.
He does, yeah.
That's for sure.
It's tender.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Dylan, what are you having for dinner?
I'm probably gonna have fucking like frozen burritos or something. Because I'm not knocking frozen burritos because I do love some frozen burritos.
Yeah, same.
But my family already ate, and I'm just gonna end up going home and cooking my own food. And I have a lot of frozen burritos in my freezer. I don't even know what half of them are. I feel like I have beef and bean. I've got like cheese. I've got like these chicken something or others. But it's all the same for me. I just grab 3, put them on a plate, microwave them for 3 minutes, flip them over, put like Mexican cheese on top, put it in for another minute, and then that's it. I just eat 3 frozen burritos.
I was so hoping you were going to say enchilada sauce on top of it, but I forgot.
That would be good.
You do? You'll do
I like enchiladas. Yeah, enchilada sauce is good.
Okay.
But that's like on enchiladas. That's like what you put on them.
That Monday morning experience with you running inside that big ball could be real interesting. Post 3 dirty store burritos.
Yeah.
That's right.
It'd be real muddy in there probably. On that note, Thanks, dude, for hopping on with us.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. This was cool.
You've been on my list for a while, so I'm glad we got to chat and hang out. But I'm definitely going to look up exactly where your shop is so I can drive out there sometime soon. And
drive out. I thought about riding out there a couple of times. That'd be cool. And then Logo, the boy Johnny's been trying to get me out there for a little bit. So
Yeah, come visit us.
yeah,
In St. Louis.
Well, yeah.
He texted me the other day and said, "When are you coming over for a pool party?"
He didn't. He
Pool
did not.
party.
Yes, he did. I swear.
He wouldn't text you that.
He did.
I want to get shit whipped off that tube he's got behind the boat.
Yep. That's in the Ozarks,
Oh, then we can go.
it's a little crazy down there.
A little bit, I heard or seen. Yeah, that's I'd like, he's looking for it. He wants to prove it.
Let's end this show before Dylan finds it. So
fuck you.
Dave, it was great talking to you. And, I can't wait to either make it out to Boston or you make it here to St. Louis. So that's it.
Let's go.
We'll talk soon. Okay. All right. Good night, guys.
Don't.
Good night,
No,
guys.
I got.